Good day, everyone. I have so many amazing channeled messages to share with you today, especially the ones about DNA and mitochondria and how it relates to the twin flame journey. So stay tuned if you want to hear about that. It's really cool. I would definitely advise it. Some good information will come through, perhaps stuff that you don't know. And I have the 7-deck read on the table for you for the twin flames. I have the 4-deck message of the day, plus I used some clarifiers on that read. I have an abbreviated Rider-Waite deck. It's a laminated deck here, but I don't use the whole deck. I only use all of the people in here, right? So there's no like action really, just all the people to confirm like which characters or what energies are coming up. And I was using it for some messages last night, and it was really coming up as really a great flow. And so this morning I did a read with just this deck for you guys, but then I clarified it as well with the Wild Unknown mini Tarot here. So some really cool messages came through with that one as well, which I'll show you. So actually I'm going to go ahead and pull you a person card from this mini abbreviated deck before we start, and then we'll take a few deep breaths before we go on to the messages. We're going to roll the die. We do oracle cards at the end as usual. And so what is the most important energy from this deck that needs to come up for everybody today? And it came right up, and there's the Sovereign card. The bottom of the deck is the Chariot, which is Ascension. So your sovereignty, your independence, that you are all that, you're a catch. And we have the Queen of Wands with the Lovers coming up as well, and the 6 of Cups, really beautiful energy there, and the High Priestess. So a lot of feminine energy, child energy, soulmates, fond memories, lovers. So these two together are very much twin flamey energies. Really cool energies with Gemini as well. Pisces, perhaps Virgo or Aquarius can come through with that. And there's Pisces again confirming. And then there's the deliverance of the messages coming up here. Look, with the 2 messages or messengers, the Page of Swords and the Knight of Swords, which can represent Gemini and Virgo. And then the Page of Cups as well, which is that sweet, pure, innocent love. And then the bottom of the deck, which is the Chariot, which is Cancer, and Sagittarius, which just fell down on the floor. So there could have been a car accident, which did come through in one of the reads. We also have the Fool, who's now free from the King of Pentacles, or maybe the King of Pentacles is now free to go on the journey to ascend, perhaps after paying something off or getting help. And there's the Magician in the underlying energies, very powerful energies right there. So let's see where this read goes for you guys. Let's take our 3 deep breaths first. Remember to not only to ground yourself to the earth, but to just ground all of God's energy around you into yourself as all of your fractaled parts coming back together in cohesion, in congruence, all being alchemized with each other as one in a very balanced way. Remember that Mother Nature isn't just the earth, it's the all of it other than that direct spark from source. So let's go ahead and take our deep breaths. Take a deep breath. Breathe in from all around you, wrap it around your heart, and then release it back up to source. And one more deep breath. Sending it all back to source for transmutation. And thank you for being here. Sending all of you lots of blessings. And it's a beautiful rainy day out here today, but the temperature's not too bad. And let's get going with these messages. There's definitely the Christos Sophia energy coming through, which comes up in the message today as well in parallel with the chromosomes. So that's an interesting parallel. Let's go ahead and roll the die. Today is the 15th, so if you haven't submitted your insurance for the United States, you might want to do that today. It's the last day. I believe you can pay up to January 15th or whatever the cutoff date is, but you're supposed to be registered or at least confirmed by today. So if you haven't already, just a reminder. And let's go ahead and roll the die. For December 15th, 2022, we still have the energies of the 13th coming through. The 13th sign, the 13th level, the 13th, the energy that I got for God's birthday of December 7th and 13th being that week of co-creation. And again, there's no time in that space. So it's really just a message for us to help us understand in relation to other energies, something that we can understand in our language or in our density. So the 13 of Ophiuchus as well. So all about the 13 right now, especially as we hit the 13th. And I'd said happy birthday to God and actually got a thank you for the message back. It was really cute. And yeah, let's roll the die. So December 15th, so the 15 is the devil and the shadow. And let's see what we have here. 10, 26, 30, 33 today. So we have the Christ vibration today along with that. So the devil and the Christ energy of unity consciousness as well. The Christos Sophia. Let's roll the die for December 15th, 2022 for the twin flames. All right, we have the 69. This was very significant today as well. So this is the Cancer symbol, but it's also the 69 of the Ace of Pentacles. It's also the pod of the 6 and the 9 that come together and make the 8 in the pod, the 2 P's in the pod. And the Cancer, again, the mother, the moon, the daughter comes up with the moon as well for me. We have Cancer, not Cancer, but Capricorn here as well, which is Saturn. Saturn of restriction and the paternal fatherly energy that is restrictive or responsible. We have the 12 of the Hanging Man, which is also Pisces, but I always get Capricorn more with that, and this is also December. So that is Capricorn, and we're in Sagittarius right now. So we have Capricorn for sure coming through along with Pisces and Cancer, which are also, for me, very compatible energies. So Cancer is cardinal, Capricorn's cardinal, and and Pisces is mutable, and so is Sagittarius. So we have a cardinal mutable kind of cross right there. And it's like an X, really. And I'm pulling the 6 being the half of the 12 over here. And the H, notice that the Capricorn symbol is the cross up top with an H. And that can also be a cross on top of an N. But the H, again, is the number 8, referencing the dance. It was very interesting the way the H came through in my readings today too, right? I get H and H all the time because 44 of the H, an H is a 4 on top of another 4, like a chair on a chair, which is the lap dance, the 44 8. But the 8 is the 5D level of the dance, standing upright and do-si-do, and the constant wave of back and forth, the sine wave. And we're just getting, and the loop-de-loop. So I don't know if somebody's going to an amusement park or just relating to the loop and the down part of the loop as we're in Mercury retrograde coming forward here in December, of feeling like things are going backward, but it's really just time to review and gain momentum to then shoot up again. And I hope nobody's shooting up, but that was the energy. I was really getting more of an amusement ride, like the rockets that, shoot straight up, like a bungee. I don't know if somebody's bungee jumping, but for some reason all of those energies are coming up right this moment. All right, so this first message, this first 4-deck read, which is not a 4-deck read today, it was a 5-deck read because I added the energy deck for whatever reason, the underlying energies to the left, and then 3 cards each, and then whatever numbers I had to count at the end of each deck. So I'm going to pull it up closer as the mailman comes to deliver you a message right now. The top deck there is the Journey of Love. Then we have Nature's Whispers. Then we have the Metatron deck. Sorry about the bird there at the end that's cut off, but I'd always tell you all the cards. And then there's the Energy deck and the Shaman deck at the bottom. So really cool, interesting energies. And this is the one I clarified at the end as well. So I'm going to show you a quick pic of the energies I clarified with. Okay, at the bottom there. And there was a reference to two falling, which was so interesting. So I'm going to show you in the picture because I want to show you the reference in the read as well. So notice down here at the bottom that we have the falling angel all the way to the left. And then, so here's the falling angel over here, and then we have another cannonball kind of falling. This is a falling angel, clearly. And then over here is like a superfly falling, you know, more of like an insectoid energy falling, or an ET energy falling. And then we have the green moth over here tapping their toe, which then lines up directly with the sword. And when I put this card in the same position with the sharing here, like Happy Days, their foot also connects with the sword over here. So 2 feet of these two sharing here in the sphere, and as well, notice the white sphere and the orange sphere over here, they also come together. And notice that we have the man and the woman holding a heart over here, along with Archangel Michael and the thinking man over here. So here we go with this first read. We have the Journey of Love was pulled at 239, Nature's Whispers at 40, Metatron at 41, Energy deck at 42, which is the 2 of Cups, and then the Shaman Dreams at 43, which is the 3 of Cups of coming together. The first 139 being the Knight of Cups and the Journey. All of the decks really had 1 card at the end, except for Metatron, which really had 2, but the 1 was pulled into the first 3 cards. So it could be considered just 1 extra card or 2, so I did both numbers. So the numbers that came out with the cards at the end were 5 1s, 1 1 1 1 1, but also 1 1 2 1 1. And they both had an entry in Gematria, so I'm going to bring them to you. The 5 1s was thunder and lightning is going to come down on you if you don't leave my woman alone. Thunder and lightning is going to strike you down if you try to break up my home. All right, that was the first entry for the 5 1s. Then 1 1 2 1 1 was Christopher Kemp, and K-E-M-P in capitals were separated, each letter, K-E-M-P. And then Ka says she faked her death, still alive. Who? Princess, and those letters were all separated, Diana. Now she's David James Furnish. The so-called royals are one huge fraud and fake Jew scam, Marka Land King, calm. All right, so that was the entry for 11211. So then I went right into the read at 319, which is the Empress and the 19 of the Sun. The underlying energies was the 66, and root 66 came up right away. Of coming together was 66, which is also the 2 spirals of the Mother's Heart, and 66 is the Queen of Pentacles. Here's the culmination of the deck, right? She's been through all the other suits, and now she comes to the Pentacles. Coming together, the 27 of the maintaining your childlike spirit with inspiration. To inspire is to also breathe in. The 20 of the cosmos in the wake-up call, that they reflect us. And the 46 of the inner children loving each other and the outer children loving each other. The past life connections, the fond memories, and the thinking man. And then the 19 of the falling angel and the sun, where the sun's rays blinded them and they've tripped and fell from heaven. And again, the energy between Archangel Michael and Lucifer comes up here too. They're right next to each other. The Queen of Pentacles coming together to inspire childlike spirit as the cosmos mirrors you in a wake-up call to come home. The thinking man finding his inner child. The 19 and blinded by the sun, the light, the falling angel exposed. The underlying energy at 323, which is the Empress and the King of Wands rather. The underlying energy being the 24, which is the Queen of Wands. The Omega, the Pleiades, is considered number 24 according to Ishmael. I don't know, I get stuck at his name, his last name, it's so easy. Spanish name. But you know who I'm talking about. I brought him up on my last message. Perez, Ishmael Perez. So he talks about very specific numbers, that the Earth is 606 and the Pleiades is 24, and we get 24 as the crowning energy all the time because it is Omega, and Omega is the enlightenment energy, and it's also Om and Ega is the feminine ego. The crown of enlightenment and the tail of the dragon. So I also received that page where the dragon faces Orion, and the dragon's tail is actually the Pleiades. And the dragon's breath, or fire, is right in front of Orion's face, going up to the other two twin stars next to the twin stars of Gemini. So again, the false path and the true path kind of energies right there. So the Queen of Wands here is also the spaces between the words, or worlds. The Fool holding space and loving all that is on the Fool's journey with an open heart and a leap of faith. The 49 of the Woman of Light and Lady Liberty, basking in self-satisfaction. Lady Liberty, you know. The 15 of the Mother Praise as the Mantis being. As long as you're female, that's not an issue, right? Because they always bite the male's head off after procreating. As the Queen of Wands could be Aries here, and the Queen of Pentacles could be Capricorn, coming together. And then I-76 came up from 176, all the cards. I was getting Route 66, but then they were taking me to I-76. And then I was getting, like in the Muppets movie, stop the presses. So I went to the news. And on KDVR.com, on December 13th this year, 22, in Morgan County, Colorado, they were unable to see I-76 because it was closed all the way to the Nebraska border due to snow. Also on December 8th, 22, Jonathan W. Franzel of Culpeper, Virginia, part of a crew on Route 66 near exit 60, Thursday morning before 1 a.m. was helping a collision of two vehicles and got killed by another oncoming car. And that was from fox5dc.com at 3:33. 2013 to 2015 was this car that took off, who killed this worker here. It was a maroon or burgundy Chevy Malibu. I don't know if they caught them yet. Missing the driver's side mirror and heavy damage to the front driver's side, perhaps. And I have the number here too for the state police if somebody actually needs it. At 3:39 is the Empress and the Knight of Cups. The first card out here was the 2, within nothing there's everything, and the 56 of the 2 of Swords of the Dance of the Planets. And in the heart womb, the Queen of Pentacles and the Divine Feminine, Pisces, or higher self, knowing and staying clear anyway, despite what they know. And then the energy of Linda and Paul McCartney dancing through their record, which is the cyclone around the vortex, just like a record. So Linda and Paul McCartney coming up. And I get this card a lot, and I always see Linda and Paul dancing in this card, but today I was definitely getting a message about them, so I looked it up, dancing through their record. And at 3:43, and I think this was foxnews.com, Mary McCartney, who I knew nothing about. I mean, I don't even think I knew how many children that Paul had. But Mary McCartney is the middle child, and her name is Mary, and she's 53. And she has created with others a documentary, If This Waltz Could Sing, inspired by her love for Abbey Road Studios, having grown up there with her parents, Linda and Paul. After seeing a 1977 picture of them and their ponies strolling through a nearby crosswalk. They also did some talk and spiritually connecting with me right now, and Linda comes through to me quite often, actually. There's some Lennon talk there. Remembering John Lennon was murdered December 8th, 1980, so there's always that constant memory in New York where he was killed. And then Mary was born August 28th, 69, in London, which makes her Virgo. Heather is the older sister, born in Tucson, Arizona, birthday 12/31/62, which makes her Capricorn. And then Stella's the youngest, September 13th, which is another Virgo, 1971 in London. So there's 2 Virgos and a Capricorn, very earth-oriented, very grounded energies of Paul and Linda McCartney. And then we're talking about Mary McCartney, and I was getting again something about Mary and the middle child. Linda dancing for her. So I was getting her mom, and she's coming through now. She's very excited for her daughter, and she wants her to know. This is her Shakti energy coming through, right? Her warrior woman coming out of her, and which is very difficult for the middle child, who's often the one who's misunderstood, right? The 19 of the sun and the child exposed to the sunshine or the limelight, with 1 card coming out here, the 35 of intimacy, but that's also the wounded warrior. And the name Tim is coming up a lot here, which came up in I Am That I Am, so we're going to get into that because it went a lot into that. But Tim is literally, T is the top dog or God, and TI is also source, but TIM is like God's instant message. So just remember that whenever I say in Tim or in intimacy here. So the first card here for them was the 35 of the wounded warrior and the intimacy within, right? When you share, when you have a bonded sharing of a tragic event, and her losing her mother to cancer, of her parents' story in the vortex, birthing her own fire. And her mother's keeps coming through, applauding her. This 355 is the 3 of the Empress and the 55 of the Ace of Swords. The underlying energy of the 21, which I think that's Linda's birthday, actually. She's a Libra, so it's September 21, I think. And my birthday's the 18th, so there's very close, but I'm Virgo, she's Libra. So the fresh approach to wholeness and balance for the Queen of Pentacles, number 66, and the 36 of the Atlas, the map of Route 66 and Route 76, but also the root of intuition, the intuit connection, the twin towers of you and I in between, in the connection with brain on fire, the 47 of the heart to the crown, 4 to 7, the sweet spot, and the 8 of Cups, which is the seeing synchronicities, seeing your choices, all the things that you love, and heaven in your eyes. And the laughter here of the little ones, playing and causing havoc with the avatar running of the bulls, a map of intent of synchronicities and heaven in your eyes, and the 5 of change and freedom, and to clear out the old in order to expand. The 40 of the Page of Cups, and the little ones, the innocent, pure ones, to show your support, whether it's to them or them to you, showing your support to the little ones, the flowers and the flames, and the birds and the man in the canoe. And this comes up around the mice as well. I bought some of the plug-ins for the mice, to try to get them out of the house, and I sprayed peppermint oil around the house, and it sounded like that, it did the trick at first. But then after a couple days, they showed up, because we really cleaned up and made sure there was no dog food that they could get their hands on or anything like that, so that they wouldn't come back anymore. But then they were starving for food, and they were really coming out looking for something to eat. And I've only seen babies, I have not seen the mom. But in the cards that I pulled, I was getting a family where the mom and dad with the girls were telling the little baby boy to go out and protect the family. It was so weird. And actually, I think it was a couple babies out here, because Teddy got one of them. And I felt so bad for the little baby mouse. But Teddy did get one of them and killed him. I don't know if he did it on purpose or if he stepped on him by accident, but he's usually very sweet. But, he's a dog, and he's much bigger than the mouse. So there is that energy of innocence, and to show your support to the little ones. Because I was really contemplating, what to do with the mice. I've been here for a long time. I've had mouse traps, and I've taken them outside, and they usually return. But I'm at this point, because I'm not going to kill them, I was well, maybe we had a hamster before. Maybe I'll just get a cage, and, we'll put them in the cage and feed them. They may be very happy, and they don't have to look for food anymore. So we'll see where that goes. But today I don't hear anything today, so that was a good sign. But the energy of the innocence, right, of the little babies here, to show your support to the little ones, the flowers and the fairies and the birds and the man in the canoe, the whispering bench, the 7 of the little chariot, and creating ripples of positive emotions, and the key of the 48 of walking away within, to hope and happiness, which is another H and H there. Wild and free, what will be, and then Doris Day came up and Knight Rider. But it wasn't about Knight Rider. It was about Doris Day and her movie Day by Night, 1957, or her album rather. She was last seen in LA January 28th, 89, and she died not until May 13th, 2019, at age 97. And this was also from foxnews.com. Fox News was coming up a lot with the answers here. So her, because Doris Day was always smiling, she seemed like a very happy-go-lucky person to everybody. And, like the top sold artist, or there's some kind of top spot there for her. Her third husband squandered her $20 million, and she didn't find out till 1969. She had stopped movies altogether, but had to do the Doris Day show on CBS in order to pay off her debts. Her son Terry, who was actually adopted by the third husband, was her only right true love after that, and his name was Terry. And he almost got murdered by Charles Manson, but he actually ended up moving as suggested by her or a close relative. And then 7 months later was the murders there. 8/9/69 was when those murders happened with the Tates. So Terry did die of cancer at age 62 at this is 414, the Emperor and the Patient Angel. The last 10 years of her life has been mostly in the bedroom, according to the article, and kitchen only. She doesn't leave the house. And then 27, maintain your childlike spirit. And again, she had had enough of Hollywood, obviously, because she stopped Hollywood altogether at that point, way back when. So at 416 is the Emperor and the 16 of trauma and sudden events, epiphanies and sexual exchange. And the first card of the 29 of contemplation of what will be, will be. Very Doris Day. Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. The future is ours to see. Que sera, sera. I'm in the wrong key. Can't remember the tune a little bit. So, it was coming up as distorted on purpose, because it wasn't all smiles. She had a lot of tragedy in her life, and I'm getting a lot of big connection right now. Present, and it's making me want to cry. Present to the butterfly child and the lion beast. That the children are the gifts, and don't forget that. And this is her message. Right, that her adopted child was adopted by her third husband, ended up being her greatest gift. Even though he took everything from her, it was really the adopted child that was the true gift. Blinded by artificial light in the fall, to shift your energy and hover over all. The ship that you are, just like the earth, you are a host as well. The bridge that carries from here to there, the 43 that love matters, that one-to-one connection. The birds are coming, like the British, but the birds are coming, the birds are coming. The ships to be seen that open up to other planes. Allow the old ship to sail. What will be. Of 1 and 17 here, which then I was getting I-17, which I don't know where that highway is, but that may be a message for somebody, but it's also 117. The 1 of the magician or divine masculine, and the 17 of the star, of healing and dreams coming true, in infinite blessings in fairy dust or snow, sprinkled all over you. Dreams come true, it can happen to you if you're young at heart. The wounded warriors of loss of love receive infinite blessings now, the intimacy of the wounded warrior's path and stardom and where that took them. Paul and Linda, Doris and her son, who left their mark on everyone. Just imagine, says John Lennon, and Yoko, who's still with us. And the INE of imagine is the 4, the water, the I, the jaguar, the in and the in with 2 N's. It also is the talon of the bird, the claw, the hoof, the nail. Or in other words, the image of I am. The image of water, of aqua. the happiness hotel or the inn, the number 4, which is the L and the 1 of the lambda leap. The Lamb or Christ to the Father leap. And the image of the Father, right? We're all the sons and daughters created in the image of Source, that Christ isn't his only son, that we're all his children, her children. I am, image is I am the age, but you are ageless. So picture this. Picture the lambda leap, the Christ Father leap. The dance of the cyclone, which is the transmutation, the intimacy in the quiet within, of knowing and surrendering, knowing without needing to tell, the warrior without the need to battle, the dreamer without the need to dream, because they have all they need in the present moment. At 434, which is the Emperor, and the 34 of the energetic exchange, the arrows of love, at 3:44 on the clock here. So we had 2 4s and a 3, both at 4:34 and on the clock here, which is 3:44 now. So at 4:34 in that energetic exchange with the Emperor or the lambda leap and the stability of the home or building and structure, the 52 in the underlying energies here of the Queen of Swords, and priorities of her as Big Bird, which is the B, capital B is 13, and then IG, I God, and then bird is capital B, or 13 in transition, of IRD, which is the road or path. So the transition to I God and the transition to my I am path, with the rainbow bridge and the golden wings of Paul McCartney, both Gemini, or twins, and band wings. Says Linda Libra, I'm getting, that he gave her her wings. 52/7 is that Queen of Swords energy, the water chariot, the dolphin, Saint Dolphin, the divine masculine water vehicle of I matter. So go feed emotion, right? The body is made of matter, so it needs water, it needs emotion. The blessings of 47, or 4 to 7, of heart to crown, of the 42/7 of Lady Liberty, and that crowning moment with something about Mary, whole and complete and indigo aligned with star mother and divine masculine, child and pet, Cancer and Pisces, with a message in the bottle and shell or natural mouthpiece or platform, where the land meets the sky, or the land meets the sea, meets the sky, meets the I am. Freedom by the sea, and sea. Freedom by the ocean, with emotion, seeing with your eyes, and the letter C of the whispering bench and the Christ unity consciousness. The human earth and water raises to air to breathe that I am. The one of the divine masculine leap, and the magic bee and buttercup of joy and happiness. The 20 of that wake-up call, waking to the cosmos' mirror, and the dodecahedron, which dodeca is the 12, to the icosahedron, which is the 20, but they both have the numbers of 12, 20, and 30, just in different ways. Right? The 12 sides, so we have the 12 planes, the 12 sides, and the 12 and the points. So 12, 20, and 30 apply to both the dodeca and the icosahedron, which is 20 planes or sides. So the hanging man, which is 12, 20 is the judgment, and 30 is the union, the home, which dodeca is also, besides 12, the 2 and the 10, is also the 2 decades. So 2 times 10, or 2 plus 10, or 2 plus 1, which equals 3. I am that I am. I, the capital M, TH, which is to the nth degree, and then ATIM, ATIM, which is a play on atom. But ATIM is also a dog or horse. And we all know dog is God spelled backwards, and the horse is Mr. Ed. But it's also the whore who sees, and the dog who's a dog, right? So it's referencing the masculine and the feminine energies in both ways, in their human state and in their altered state. I am, like instant messaging to the nth degree, ATIM. So this also brings up the name Tim, because it's also I-M-T-H-A, Tim, which we're going to get into that in a minute. And that came up again today. So remember the H and H, because this also here with the dog and the horse comes up as the Horse and Hound, and the movie that came up with, if you remember. So when he went to see Julia Roberts at the press conference, he had to get in by saying he was from the publication Horse and Hound. And again, the reference of the horse being the whore who sees, and the dog being the hound dog. And there's Elvis coming up there too. So I am that I am, or I am is instant messaging to the nth degree, a Tim, the dog and the horse. But if you put dog and horse backwards, not only does it bring up the reference of the dog and the horse, and then backwards being God, but horse backwards is Ezra, E-S-R-O-H, which also can mean, as E-Z-Y-O-H came up as blood and covered in, but Ezra again is the high priest. But it also comes up as E-S and then R-O-H was another word. And no spiral here. And that Tim, T-H-A, Tim, is a word actually, to drop, release, and heart. Again, it's like a slang word online, like, you know, giving somebody a heart in a response online, dropping a heart or releasing a heart. So we're going to go back to that again, but 503 is the Hierophant and freedom and change and expansion. The 3 is the Empress, but they're both Taurus energies, the Hierophant and the Empress. And then we had the 12 card of Akashic Records. And again, the wisdom of seeing new perspectives. So I opened the energy medicine book and it opened to chapter 11. Swimming in electromagnetic currents on page 315, which says the 15th, but also the prior page on the same opening is 314, which is pi. And a child's question. Why would the same God who created joy and ecstasy also make us suffer pain? And so in the energy chapter, they were talking about that. And the choice, you know, to think certain thoughts that we've been templated to. So they don't speak to it the way we do, but it's very, you know, it's the same kind of energy. They just speak to it in more of clinical or medical terms. So on page 315, talking about the spiraling or the spinning molten iron at the center of the earth creates the magnetic field that protects us from the sun in their particle interaction between themselves and the geomagnetic field. And they talked about electropollution and things like that, EMF waves that can harm us like 5G. And then the energy around iron, because iron is the magnetite crystal, which is in all life forms, a natural magnetic mineral comprised of black iron oxide. The registered changes in the connection to the electromagnetic field, the black iron oxide, it registers this magnetite. It registers changes in the connection to the electromagnetic field and helps to orient you or reorient you every time things change. The artificial EMF can harden cell membranes, alter DNA, and affect hormone production and neurological processes. It can increase aging, glucose levels, lipid levels, blood pressure, and neuron regulatory disturbances, compromising the central nervous system, the cardiovascular systems, and the immunosuppression systems. Electric is, remember, is blocked by bone, but magnetic is not, you know, it's like MRIs, they're non-invasive. I mean, they still use contrast in MRIs as well, but you don't have to do that particular test to get some results with the magnet. The electric field is due to the presence of charged particles as electrons, but the magnetic field is due to movement of these same particles of the electric current. All right, so the presence of electric is the electric side. The movement of the electric is the magnetic side. So the 12 of wise perspectives, and then the 35 of the wounded warrior in the Kundalini release, the samurai's sword was coming up here. And the sword, remember, as it reduces, becomes the word, and then ORD, which is the origin, and then RD, which is the road or path. The 34 of the ancestors who arc in, or arcs are also ships, your ancestors arcing in, or perhaps traveling in, showing appreciation and healing with arrows of love, or two ships passing in the night. And this site I was guided to is thesoundofheart.org. Her ancestors, his 27 rainbow leap. And it was coming up like two arcs coming together like the toroidal field, but with direction. So they're not equal like the hourglass, but they're on a trajectory in a certain direction. And it just came up like this. The two pictures of the cards came up like this picture down here. Okay? Where one was like this, going this direction, and the other was going this direction. So this is the rainbow. And then this is the compassion energy from the ancestors coming forward. And it was mimicking the opposite directions that they were going, like the push and pull of the magnetic field and the twin flame quantum energy. So the one on the left was the ancestors' leap of faith, and then the one on the right was the rainbow bridge and Michael's wing. And remember, the rainbow is the Metatron energy of the wind beneath their wings, right? So Michael's the electric, and when then Michael starts moving, then the rainbow bridge comes in as the support system in the magnetic field. It is also coming up as the magnetic side, as the the electric rainbow was coming up as the arteries, right? The spark that shoots the blood into the body. And then the veins were coming up as the magnetic, pulling it back to the heart in that leap of faith, the veins and the ancestors. So the energetic exchange and the spark, right? So the stationary energy of the spark and then the movement of energetic exchange, the spark being the electric, the energetic exchange being the magnet, like the arteries and the veins back and forth. And then two cards came up with the 27 and 50 of Metatron and the wind beneath Michael's wings, and the sign from the birds and synchronicities from Spirit with Love. I was just getting the group, the birds, coming up here as well, so much about music and musicians. At 527 is the change and freedom of the 27 of that leap of faith of the spark, the underlying energy of the 33 and the doors, the door to romance and that Christ energy with 33 and standing up for oneself. The 18 of anxiety, of Cancer and water, the moon child type of energy there, with the Christ energy of martyrdom and the door to romance of setting yourself free, right? I'm getting out the back, Jack, making new plans, Stan. The 18 of anxiety, of Cancer and water, and then the 23 of the King of Wands, who's all tied up and playing games, right? The fire sign. And the anxiety of romance here of the moon, and the King of Wands playing games. The 46 of the thinking man with crystals contemplating how to play nicely. And we have the Page of Cups and the Page of Wands here. Definitely could be energies of the twin flames. So we have first the Page of Cups and Page of Wands, but first there was earth and air, or then there was earth and air. The first one here was 35, or I-35 could be coming up here. The wounded warrior, Archangel Michael, passing the torch to Metatron, magnetic service, right? In travels, right? Because when Michael's still, they don't need their services. But when they're in energetic exchange of the Rainbow Bridge, then Metatron comes into play, because that has to do with magnetic movement. The wounded warrior path to the Fool's Journey and the leap of faith over that hill, so Faith Hill's coming up as well, as Metatron requires a lot of patience. I am that I am, and I'm getting the horse, Mr. Ed. And nay, and I was just playing with Teddy. And he's so much like a horse. I always horse around with him like that. But this is coming up again. And there's that energy of the bull too, right? When the bull's kicking up their dust before they charge. Ah, the charge, right? So kicking up so the hoof going around and around, kicking up the dirt to create a charge is that energy of the electric, kicking up to become the magnetic, right? And create a charge on the electromagnetic field. And it's like the bull seeing red, right? So that references anger and how that gets started, right? Starting the fire up in your heart, getting your heart going. But there's better ways of doing that. The 32 of the journey of the door to spirit and clearing the air to create the fire within, the inspiration and the energy that it takes to breathe in. So God sends it in, but you must figure out how to get it out. The 45 of the man holding a heart, purging, and the 44 of the woman holding a heart, grounding, integrating, and mastering how to receive his love. At 5:34, again, the freedom and the 34 of energetic exchange, right? The freedom to move, the freedom to go from electric to magnetic, the underlying energy of the 36 of Atlas. Atlas lost in space here and needing directions. And what do men do when they need directions? Well, they certainly don't ask, because then they'd have to humble their pride, right? The 45 of the purge here, of perhaps getting lost because they didn't ask for directions, and the need for forgiveness in order to repair the veil. Tying the pages back, and that can literally be pages as the little ones, tying the pages back together, top down this time, with the 18 with anxieties of the eagle oracle rising above the fray, and the 61 of the whale's song resonating deep below. The eagle's perch, remember, is high up in the air, and the whale's portal is way down below. The eagle's eye and the whale's sonar wave. And again, the energy was going back to the divine feminine here, because it's reflecting my numbers. So it was coming up as 45, and then 18, and then the 61, which 45 is the minute I was born, 18 is the day I was born, and then the 61 is the year I was born. So the energy of the 45, which is the leap to purge, the 18 of the purple moon, and the high of the 10 and the 8, or the 18 in Judaism, destined dance of the 10 and the 8, which is also October 8th, but also referencing the high vibe trill of the 1010, which is the leap from source to human, and the 8 of the dance. Remember, because the initial leap is really the God to the human, and then the 2 and the 3 being the feminine and the masculine energies. And again, the trill and so on, because it'll go up to the 4, 5, 6, and so on. So the 8 and 10, or the high vibe leap to do the dance of the 8 of manifestation, of the 61, which is the 6 of the spiral, and the 1 of the leap again. The spiral leap to 19 of the sun, and here we have 61 and then 19, which are reflections of each other of the pod, because you have to leap not just one way, but then back again. You can't learn to leap out of one realm without knowing how to get back. Same thing, you can't pump the heart out to the body without the body knowing how to send the blood back to the heart. So the leap back, or the falling angel, blinded by the light, the moon and the sun, and 61, and 18 to 19 of the moon and the sun. And again, for me, I was born in Memphis on the 18th, but in Philadelphia, that would be the 19th. So there's that reference to the moon and the sun. And then at 5:39, which is the freedom and change of the 39, the Knight of Cups, the first card out here is the 20 of the Feast of Plenty, of 2 swords and 1 stone. And it often reminds me of Happy Days, because they're sharing, like a soda pop or an ice cream sundae. So the Feast of Plenty with 2 swords and 1 stone, like 2 straws in a glass, and the wake-up call to come home to dinner in the 18, 19, and 20 of it. The moon, the sun, and then the judgment call, which is the wake-up call, the mother's ringing the bell to come home. Happy days are upon us. Day by Night by Doris Day, and the announcement of the number 20, which is source creator of 0, backing us up as the 2, each other's higher selves. The 9 of the Hermit, which is the 1 and the all is also the thing that makes wholes. The Avatar, where Ava is an all, it's something that makes wholes, but it's also the tar of the throne, the hole maker's throne, the one who makes the black holes, the vortexes. And their throne is the Hermit, the 1 and the all, the one that goes within. The green moth dipping, right, the moth to the flame can't resist, so then they end up falling within. The falling angel falls within, dipping in their toe, balancing and dancing on one foot. The balancing act to test the feast of plenty, or taste that feast of plenty, or then I was getting 20 and back. So there's this energy of being abducted and doing 20 and backs, and often they're done 2 or 3 times. So dancing on one foot, balancing act to taste the feast of plenty, or 20 and back. So again, going into the dark side of life, right? Feeding into addictions and those kind of things will get you into a low frequency where then they can abduct you and put you to service elsewhere. The 22 of the Fool's Embrace, and the 2 falling simultaneously, face to face. The fly on the wall meets falling angel. And again, the energy of insectoid descent, and the praying mantis keeps coming up. So the mantis beings, and I actually have met a mantis being, and they definitely have harsher energy, but it was a benevolent mantis that I met. So I looked up the insectoids to see what message I was supposed to be getting, and I went to paranormallovetoknow.com, where the insectoids wear robes or odd clothing, perhaps by rank. And this was just from her channeling. And one of their clients she quoted as Alpha Centauri, as Sinos, the praying mantis with 8 hands and several hearts, 8 foot tall and very childlike and lovable, named Hands, or Hands, with a life expectancy about 120 years. So there's that reference to 12 and 20 again. The wisdom of 20 and back, and then the 30 of home. JIAMY, Jamie Lake in Taiwan, had an image of an insectoid mantis. And they often come up as, the intelligent ones who are in charge of the greys, or doing the scientific stuff behind the greys, who are just, clones or whatever, they're servants. And again, some, like any race or being, there's benevolence and malevolence. So then J-Rod came up, the letter J-Rod, and the Ancient Aliens TV series on insectoid humans. And this, again, is the same website. The future event splits humans into 2 species. Sound familiar? One goes underground to survive and eventually morph into insectoid humans. Supposedly, J-Rod was recovered from a crashed UFO from the Earth's future. And they make clicking sounds, or they communicate orally that way through clicking sounds. The 43 of the leap of faith to come together in the overflow of overwhelming plenty. The falling angel and the insectoid tucks in Cannonball Run. So again, there's that energy of superfly, right? So they become human and insectoid. They'll have these superpowers of being able to fly, or be that fly on the wall, literally, like Spider-Man. So overwhelming and dropping in from crystal spheres and orange balls. And that can reference Jupiter. I mean, Mars is considered the red planet, although it looks orange sometimes. It's really considered the red planet. But Venus can be orange, and so can Ganymede, Jupiter's moon. But there's another moon in Jupiter that actually looks more orange than Ganymede. So I wasn't sure what the orange balls were referencing specifically here. And just now they were telling me it's another way of seeing the dark side of the moon can be orange at times. Or the bright side of the moon is orange with the reflection of the sun. So again, overwhelming in dropping in from crystal spheres and orange balls. And then sherbet was coming up with the, vanilla ice cream and orange sherbet or orange ice. And sherbet was coming up, and first I was getting Sherwood Forest, but then I was getting the sherbet or frozen fruit, which did come up later, but not at the time I got the message here. It does come up in another way. But sherbet is also she Robert or Roberta, right? The she of Robert is Roberta. But also SHER equals she and her, and then B root. And remember, she and her both have he in them already, and she, all self-contained, is the root or the road. Robert can also reference the baby bottle or the breast in a slang way. So I looked up RBE to see if there was a meaning for that in sherbet, and it means to win, succeed, or to be prosperous. But Sher comes up as the lion in Fiji Hindi, SHER. And Bert means only or burden, load or bundle, weight, clothing, apparel, accoutrement. It also is the sheep and the goat, and being short or brief. The deed, the exploit, the trick or effort, the task, action, behavior, movie, play, or move, play, or game. It also references the castrated boar, pig or bear, and cowherd. And again, so we have Sher and Bert being the lion and all of those other definitions, which comes up as the lion's accoutrement. And what are the lion's accoutrement? The mane, the crown, being lonely at the top, the king. Right? And he often wears a cape as the king when you see the lion in movies and such. But the lion's sheep, their deed and game and behavior. The lion's castrated bear or cowherd or pig. The lion's share or being alone was all coming up under sherbet. And this was also referencing back to DNA, which came up today. Not this was yesterday, which I'll get back to that as well. So vanilla ice cream versus orange ice sherbet. And Archangel Michael and the falling angel, of course, Lucifer, Michael versus Lucifer, with plenty to share. Archangel Sandalphon gives prayers, or he gathers the prayers and gives them to God. He's the protector of nature and wishes fulfilled. One of two archangels, of the only archangels who have lived on earth. The constant support here on earth is Sandalphon, who is considered here the twin of Metatron. And this is on omna.org, omna.org. So Sandalphon oversees the earthly aspects, while Metatron oversees the inner plane aspects of ascension. And remember, Yeshua is the incarnation of Sananda, whose higher aspect is Lord Maitreya. And the number 144 on this website was referencing the wholeness, completion, and oneness, and the Council of 144. So back to the cards is the 46 of the Thinking Man and the 2 of Cups, with the Queen of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles, and the 35 of the Wounded Warrior. Archangel Michael licking their wounds as the Empress lets it all go. And this was so much paralyzing. It could be paralyzing. It was paralleling me and Teddy last night, because he was going nuts trying to figure out where the mouse was in the walls, but he can't understand that they're behind the walls and they can't be seen. So it's the energy of Archangel Michael licking their wounds as the Empress lets it all go, as Teddy and I was like, Teddy, just let it go. There's nothing you can do tonight about it. Don't be anxious or obsessive. Just go ahead and relax. So it's very much that kind of energy. But it was coming up as the Sophia spirit, the devil trying to tempt her with the man holding his heart, right? Wearing his heart on his sleeve. And then poor little Teddy, who's, he's just a puppy, really. He's only like a year and a half old. Yeah, not quite a year and a half yet. But, in killing a mouse and not knowing how to feel about it, perhaps. And again, the devil, and again, me feeling Teddy's anxiety about this was making me crazy, because I felt his anxiety running back and forth constantly, trying to relax at the window, waiting for his mommy to come home. and then trying to figure out where these little guys were so he could do his duty, right, as the dog of the house, the man of the house, right? The animals feel it too. And here was this energy of the dark energy trying to come in and tempt me to fall into that trap of losing my patience or getting frustrated. And again, that like the gingerbread man, you know, here I am, come chase me, come get me, I'm wild and free, you can't catch me. Is it I'm the gingerbread man? Why am I thinking of something else? And again, the movie Catch Me If You Can was coming up as well, right? Really smart energies, but using it in a negative way. The little imps partnering up, and I was getting that energy too of the little baby mice, you know, being really smart, like partnering up to throw us off path so they wouldn't know where they were going. Because I literally saw the one guy go right by me, but they have really good timing. So, you know, like, don't sell them short. They're actually really smart little guys. The little imps, just the mice were paralleling, you know, the little angel boys up in the clouds, causing disruptions, triggering on purpose on their little avatars, running through the clouds, causing storms. Teddy, the little imps partnering up, or the Queen of Pentacles offering help, and the Queen of Cups offering love. And then the knights, you know, like Teddy, protecting the feminine energy. And like I said before, I was getting the energy in the cards of the mouse family sending the little boy out to protect the family, even though they were just a baby. And again, the wounded warrior. The Page of Wands and the Page of Swords want to take down the King of Cups, loving each other in a bold move, right? So Teddy's like a big predator to them. He's a giant to the two little mice. And they're sticking together as the Queen of Swords tells the knight that she saw them, and then following their lead, manifesting sleeplessness and or stress. So again, the dark coming in, trying to stress you out by feeding into your old patterns. So the energy of the Page of Cups, that sweet, innocent little one, following their lead, manifesting sleeplessness and stress. And then the 46 of the two little Page of Cups together, partnering up, and the lovers of the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Swords, who may be the King of Swords here, coming at her as the wounded warrior, as the King of Wands, 23, plays games with the bleeding heart, right? Because they know that, you know, Teddy's going to fall into that energy or fall into that trap of the bleeding heart, of wearing their heart on their sleeve. He's a Cancer baby. And then also the King of Cups comes up like that in the energy deck, right, as playing games. The Queen of Wands talking to the Knight of Swords, and the Queen of Swords to the Page of Swords, or the Gemini or twin, the mother, or perhaps another receiving packages and messages. The wounded warrior, King of Swords, satisfied, opening the door as an invite to stress and sleeplessness in Seattle. The man holding their heart as the King of Wands, and the woman holding their heart, the Queen of Swords, to pick up the little one. The King of Wands, the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands, and the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords are both present here, but it was like they were trading places. So whether they're both, the two are siblings of each other and then trading places to partner up with the others, or whether these were two couples and then they're switching partners and trading places. Oh, and also the spelling of Sarah came up as Jesus as in Mary's daughter, Sarah, S-A-R''H, was also coming up here. So at 9:59, which is the Hermit and the Five of Swords, the whale's song of the falling angel, the thinking man who takes a fall, two using their foot or 2 feet, the 19 and the 9 alone, the Sun and the Hermit, the Leo and the Virgo, where Lu may be a falling angel, but he's no match for a scorned mother superfly in child's pose. And then that movie came up last night with, what's her name? And that was about, well, there was 2 movies that came up. One was about the guy who climbed Mount Everest. And it'll come up on another page, but I'm blanking out her name. What's her name? Jen. Ben Affleck and Jen. I'm blanking out on her last name. But anyway, she did the movie where she was a mother whose family had been killed, and how the worst enemy you could possibly have is a mother scorned like that. And she then took revenge on everybody who failed her, including the judges and the police people who were being paid off. But again, the energy of the fallen angel Lou. So Lou may be a fallen angel, but he's no match for a scorned mother superfly in child's pose. The falling angel blinded by the light, and the cannonball run awakened by the dark, sharing the same wound of happy days, like in dazed and confused, and the Fonz, which F-O-N-Z means the floor or grounded. And then triple A's are was great because Fonzie says A. So the triple A comes up there, or A to the nth degree, which is the rocket takeoff to Never Never Land. And the 9 plus 9 here with the 1 and 2, which reference two hermits of the masculine and the feminine. The 1 and the all, the masculine and the feminine. The missing, the cards were coming up as 18, 19, and 20, and then it skips to 22. So we're missing the 21, which is completion. Before, and 4 is the L leap of the lambda leap, before the 22, which is the 4, 22/4. The fool's embrace, transmuting pain. After the 21 of wholeness and completion, going into the new journey. But there is the fool's embrace, transmuting the pain that they cannot face. The sun and the fool in 1961, where one balances as the other falls, in the dance of the butterflies, of the angels and the moth, actually fly or superfly coming together in flooded Taj Mahal at 11:08, which is the alignment, truth, and balance, or justice of the 8 in the dance between the masculine and feminine, and manifestation of dreams. So then the wounded warrior of memories of intimacy. So then Tim comes up again. In Tim, a C. And Tim again is the top dog, instant messaging. So in God's instant messaging to AC, which can reference the whispering bench, but also alternating connections there, or current. And the energy of Tim, which the word Tim means thymus as well, which thymus is also thy mus, or muse. But it has a lot of different definitions. And then in I am that I am is THA and Tim, or just TH and A Tim, two different words. But the message here was about Tim, and the definitions of THA, and then the thymus, and then breaking the thymus into thigh mus. And the mus is the mouse, which I've just been dealing with, and the moose, which comes up as the twins because they go in pairs as opposed to the elk, which are in groups. Also the sea, the rat, the sparrow, and the knife. The muscle, the card game. The female genitalia, the constraint, the coercion. The moose, as in chocolate mousse, and also the switchblade or fly. Everything that we were just talking about came up here. To have to or must, and then again the elk, the moose, and to go, and shoe also came up under MUS. So I am the Tim. I am that I am. So it's I am that I am, or instant messaging, that instant messaging. I'm the Tim, which Tim equals thymus, which equals thy mouse, thy moose, rat, sparrow, or muscle, or a heart. I am to release and forgive the one who came against me, was the message there. I am to the nth degree a Tim, which is atom, which also means the dog, the horse, and backwards is God, and Ezra, E-S-R-O-H. E-S-R-O-H, R-O-H means out, outside, horn, corner, raw, brutal, crude, unrefined, rude, but also spirit. The S, spirit of Sophia. So literal, the dog and the horse represents the dog and the horse represent the feminine and the masculine of God, God and Ezra or Sophia, which, remember, the horse is also Mary Magdalene as the whore who sees, and God, and then Jesus being the dog as the masculine. So we have here the Mita comes up here as well. Because when I first learned to meditate in my 20s, my guide was mitos, and they showed it to me by my toes, which meant more to me than I realized at the time. But mitos was coming up as MITOS, which means thread. And Mita also comes up regarding the mitochondria, but Mita also is mythical. And Mita, MIT', is shift, to come to attend, season, weather, period, or workday, and mitos being thread. And of course, you know mitosis, which is the splitting of the cell. But the definition of mitosis is first the nucleus division, where the genome is copied, but then normally cell division is followed by that. It's not just all of a sudden, right? The nucleus divides first, and then what follows is usually the cell division. So then the day changed here. We came into 12:15 right here at 12:08 a.m., which is the hanging man and the dance. And I wrote this that came up regarding the name Tim and I am that I am. So I am that I am, or I am is an instant messaging without the A, that I am. I am the Tim. The equals to forgive Tim, which equals thymus, a heart, time to weave, peel, unearth, and build. Thymus equals thy mouse, thy moose, muscle, coercion, pocket knife, or muse. I am to the nth degree a Tim, which equals the dog or horse, reflecting God and Ezra, or ES, Sophia's spirit, or reflects Mita, MIT', which equals mythical, shift, mitos, which equals thread, and the process of splitting and weaving, or the duality, and then sewing back together through the pearl threaded, the pearl that's in all, from the bacteria that broke into the shell, as in the oyster and the clam, not to infect, but to create something beautiful you would never have seen otherwise. So there was a really beautiful message right there. So again, the mitosis thread, and that definition doesn't come under, if you look up MITOS, it doesn't come up because there's an accent over the I, but it comes up under mitosis, and it came up under something else today as well. And osis is the process of the mitochondria, basically. So to choose a name, to weave and peel the thymus heart. I am to forgive a heart. Time to unearth and build. I am to the nth degree a Tim, which is coming up as Adam, or the atom. And of course, then the movie I watched last night about the guy who climbed Mount Olympus, or whatever it was Adam. And also I'd gotten in the last message I did, the 7-deck read in the code line, time out was broken up into time and then E-out, which is, again, out is ROH, is another definition for that. So again, it was bringing back up Ezra. So time and Ezra, or Tim and Ezra, which is referencing the masculine and the feminine God. So cool. And it also references the horn, right, of the unicorn and the spirit. But also can be brutal at the same time if you're dealing with a woman scorned. Excuse me. So then in the words on the cards, I was getting the message here. King, either the M, which is also co-creation, the two IMs with the V of creation. The king, the M, the queen. So it's like you would say to knight them. Here they were saying to king them, the queen. Right? So to give credit where credit is due to the feminine aspect. And the energy of the magician was coming up here, also Gemini, and or the E queen. And I'm getting the the African queen, but this is the E queen. Oh, and Esther, very interesting. Which happens to be my middle name as well. My grandmother was Esther. So the African queen coming up is the E queen. And there could be another E reference here, but Esther was the first thing popping up for me. And the ROH again means out and spirit. So Ezra is the S of Sophia and the spirit, right? Which Sophia is the spirit, is considered the spirit, or the all other than the spark. Or the E queen of the King of Cups, which is unconditional love. So this is where those cards came up. Not all of this may come to a conclusion, but the messages I'm going to put out there, because there definitely may be something specific for you guys. Also, Tim was coming up in intimacy. Intimacy. In Tim, a sea of emotion, or in God's instant messaging, there's a sea of emotion here. The Knight of Cups and the Six of Cups, the High Priestess, Justice, Death, Gemini, which is also the Lover's card here, and the Queen of Wands with the Nine of Swords. There was a message of love to the High Priestess or higher self, Virgo or Pisces, and Justice of Death. And then the mouse had died, right? So there was Gemini energy too, and the energy I was getting of childhood, of remembering a death of an animal, which may need to be cleared. Maybe you haven't thought that that was so traumatic to you, but if you were a child when an animal died, or an animal died by accident, it may have very much traumatized you, so this may be something you need to go back and heal. And I thought of something very specific, not for myself, but for someone else. I mean, I already definitely looked at mine. I mean, we didn't have any pets really when we were little, because there's 5 kids, and there's no way my mom was going to have to deal with that too. But, you know, we tried the fish thing. But we did rescue a turtle on the side of the road that I named Jessie, and then who died shortly after that. So that was a bit traumatic for me. But the energy here was coming up as the Queen of Wands, who cried profusely. So this may not even have been your pet. This may have been someone else's or your child's pet. Or maybe someone who accidentally killed something that really traumatized you as the mother. There's Pisces and Scorpio around Libra and being fair, and Scorpio twin or Queen of Wands in despair. The King of Wands, Magician, Sovereign, Emperor, and Queen of Swords came up here, where the King of Wands sees the wounded warrior, Queen of Wands, perhaps a sister or suffering in silence, and the King of Wands manifests, or Gemini, Virgo, catch, is present to them. So again, here, the King and Queen of Wands are coming up as siblings, perhaps. But the Emperor and the Queen of Swords speak to the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Wands, showing them another way to be free, or another way to free the King of Swords with a message from the Queen of Cups, followed by the Knight of Swords delivery on a mission of self-satisfaction of the King of Pentacles with food for thought, given a choice by the Page of Cups, child, pet, or loving message from the Queen of Pentacles, and the wounded warrior behind her defending the Empress, or the Empress who's guarded to the Queen of Pentacles, and the Empress receiving the Knight of Wands, or expecting the Knight of Wands' temptation to color their world, or Capricorn and Pisces or Sagittarius excited to rush in and save the day. And again, is someone rushing to someone's aid, and then another person or their partner or sibling very defensive about them doing this. Perhaps the wounded warrior guarded of the Empress to be rescued by Capricorn or temptation to travel, or the Empress considers a temptation of the devil from the world, divine feminine or Pisces, and the Knight of Pentacles or Capricorn, divine feminine, as the Knight of Pentacles offers to connect with the Hermit, King of Cups, to perhaps shed some light on the connection. So at 1246, which is the Hanging Man and the Six of Cups, which is also very Pisces energy there, the 19 of the Falling Angel and the 19 of Shakti, and the 35 of the Wounded Warrior, Archangel Michael, on the journey of the 35, the Wounded Warrior's path. In the Tim of God's instant messaging, in intimacy, in the instant connection of AC, or alternating currents, or the whispering bench, right? That instant connection within. the 43 of the Three of Cups in overwhelm and plenty of the coming together with another 43 here that love matters and opening up another part of oneself. The 46 of the Six of Cups of the children within or without, perhaps some Cancer anxiety, and the King of Wands with games, and the wounded warrior first chakra opening the door to spirit or Sophia, letting feminine God in. To the man and the woman holding their hearts, or the Tims, the source instant messages. Two Tims, or totems, the emblem of the tribe, the clan, the family, and the aid in lucid dreams. Two hearts, two weaving, to water. In Tim, a sea, and sea, the holy sea of the whispering bench. So now we go to the messages from today. And I don't know if I wrote that down, what the movie was called, about going to the top of, not Mount Olympus, what am I thinking? You know, the tallest in the world. I'm just blanking out. But anyway, reaching the summit. I'm not going to give you away the information in the movie because it was a good movie to watch. But his name was Adam. So as we're dealing with Adam and getting energies, right? If you're climbing a mountain like that, knowing that you might die, there's a lot of moments, right, with yourself and God, and really connecting to that otherworldliness, right, of losing oxygen and lucid dreaming. There was also some reference last night to death. It could have been last year for somebody. But death can be an ending, a transformation, right? The Dark Knight, the Grim Reaper, all of those energies can come up here. And again, the energies of needing to do things like that, the need to conquer the devil, the need to conquer your fears. Even though that you're leaving behind your family, knowing that you could die and leave your family without the person that they love, and the energy of maturation, of no longer needing, like being the warrior who can do that, but not needing to, which is the wisdom of it all, right? Being able to do all that, knowing your power, but not needing to do it. Because you understand that ultimately the highest energy is of love. And if you need to do that, that's love of self, because you still need to learn that lesson. So today, I started the messages here. It was 27. Yeah. So today's 33, which is the Christ vibration. And the 15 of the devil. And the energy of being a human connected to source as a twin flame. And needing to deal with the devil and their shadow side. And so I asked, so what's the main energy today from this people deck that I've created? And the first cards that came up was the Queen of Swords and the Page of Pentacles, which very much is the Lady Liberty energy of the Queen of Swords, and the perpetual student, or that energy of Jesus walking the earth, like Kung Fu as well. And then 11, 23 to 25 is when I cut the deck here and put out the cards, which the 23, 24, and 25 is the King, the Queen, and the Knight of Wands. And the alignment of those energies of going into a new cycle after the major arcana. So the underlying energy here was the Queen of Wands and death, transformation, change. Dark Knight, the Grim Reaper, like I said. And the Queen of Wands is Omega, right? The crowning moment, the ego. It makes you feel good that you've achieved something. But again, that's human, ego. It's not what love is. Although you're loving yourself if you still need to go through that to learn that lesson, right? To have to leave the things you love behind in order to be able to appreciate what you left behind. After the Queen of Wands, Scorpio's last rites, or Queen of Wands, black cat, perhaps might have gotten hit or run over, and I hope nobody's pets got hurt, but it's a possibility. Not letting anyone stand in their way. Not the priest, not the kids, the Dark Knight, the Grim Reaper, Scorpio storming right over there. The Queen of Swords, Page of Pentacles, and the Divine Feminine speaks. The Divine Masculine student doing research about the gold coin, which coin is another way of spelling Kohan, or the two pilots, or two ships in the night. The King of Pentacles stewing on something about Mary, and the lover, Gemini or twins, or Gemini inspired in an off-kilter type of way, excited to see what else they have to say. The Empress waving her magic mic or wand, freeing the King of Cups to come out, wherever you are. The Page of Pentacles learning about death and dark night, and perhaps unnatural death, the devil, shadow work, and codependency, addiction. The Page of Wands about soulmates, bonding with the world, and the Divine Feminine or Pisces of another world. The King of Cups wants to make magic, or perhaps buy some new tools, or Gemini tapping into their unconditionally loving side. Perhaps up all night, or had a good cry or nightmare, and yet feeling very satisfied at the end of it. The Queen of Swords teacher goes into the student mode, and the King of Pentacles master of practicality taps into his passionate lover side. The Empress being free by her masculine side, and those in despair finding satisfaction anyway, with the Knight of Wands rushing in. And is that the King of Pentacles? Acting like the King of Wands, offering a choice or a passion project. The Knight of Cups being love, along with the Page of Cups and the Page of Swords, intervening with the wounded warrior here. Or the Page of Cups and the Page of Swords with defensive pet, or wanting to see how they receive the Knight of Cups to see if they're real. And this could be using your pet to see somebody's personality, whether your pet likes them or not. And as I was reading that last section to you, I was also getting Jungle Land, right? So tonight, two hearts beat, soul engines running through a night so tender, in a bedroom locked with whispers of soft refusal and then surrender. In the tunnels uptown, the rat's own dream guns them down, and shots echo down that hallway in the night. In a bedroom locked in whispers of soft refusal and then surrender. I'm probably not getting the words all in the right order, but anyway, you can look up the lyrics for Jungle Land, right? So tonight in Jungle Land, and then I think, high on a real death walk, or death waltz between what's flesh and what's fantasy. And the poets down there, they don't write nothing at all. They just stand back and let it all be. And in the quick of the night, you struggle to make a final stand or something like that, but you wind up wounded, not even dead. Tonight in Jungle Land. So you can again look that up. But all four pages represented here in this first column, or the Page of Pentacles and Page of Wands, are the Page of Cups and Page of Swords, testing the King of Cups and their self-satisfaction. The Knight of Cups detoxing, split, divide, and lies, and the Divine Masculine's heart coming out of the Batcave, awake after the sudden events or drama or someone they despise, I'm just getting now. And the Justice of Cats recovering after a break. Up, right? Break up, break in, break down, break through, or a car accident here. But the story to be continued at the end of this read. So at 11:55, which is Justice in the 55 of the Truth, so the Devil or Capricorn waves, with the Queen of Pentacles perhaps waiting in the car, or the Capricorn Queen of Pentacles says hello to a friend, or the Queen of Pentacles Earth sign with Capricorn and Cancer in their chart or around them, with Justice and the Truth of alignment of the 11 and the 55. But the truth is nothing without love, right? It's just that 2D energy going into the 44 of 3D, 33 of 4D, and then the 22 of the 5D, and that leap of faith on the 5D station where you can jump off to anywhere. So at 11:57, being Justice of 6D, 11, instant manifestation, and the 57 of the 3 of Swords, and then the 6 degrees of separation was coming up today as well. The soulmates, and I'm going back to Jungle Land again. The soulmates excited to see each other again. A neighbor, divine feminine, Pisces, or coming full circle, not realizing Pisces and the Page of Wands, or Gemini, or friends, each connected to the Queen of Pentacles and the other to the King of Pentacles, lover. The 6 degrees of separation, or the small world. It's a small world after all. As the soulmates reunite, or back in the neighborhood for the holidays. The Knight of Swords and the King of Swords going to pick them up, or delivery or deliverance, or yelling at them from the car, hurry up. As the King of Wands says to give them a break, let them talk or say goodbye. A different side, perhaps, of the King of Pentacles. Showing up as the King of Wands with the King of Swords, who's the one who's lashing out. Or the King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles are in a split, and this is the kids going back and forth. The King of Wands may be telling the King of Swords, Gemini, to be nice. Or the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords may have split, or they are the lawyers, as the King of Swords, Gemini, with harsh words, and the King of Wands, a friend of his. With the Page of Wands child, who is friends with the others that they're poo-pooing. The King of Wands may be saying to the King of Swords, they're really sweet and authentic or beautiful and natural, unafraid to show their true self. Why are you making a big deal of that? So the magician, whose wand is actually the King of Cups, and that can actually be someone in their life and they're not really truly appreciating. But their power comes from this wand, which is the King of Cups, or the tool of unconditional love, offers help or work to the Nine of Pentacles sovereign or catch. Or the magician is bestowing love on 2 well-off kids, the Knight of Pentacles and Nine of Pentacles, sovereign or independent one. Or boy meets girl, or parents who set them up. The King of Cups magician, or Gemini or Virgo, and the Queen of Cups Pisces, or with sister who keeps to herself, or perhaps she is psychic. Or 2 mothers, or grandmothers, or sisters, bringing the King of Cups and the Queen of Cups together with a wave of the magician's wand. And again, that can be the wand of the 3rd leg of the race, right? Going into the 4th quarter with Gemini or Virgo offering help or work or payment to a sovereign catch they'd like to get to know. Or reuniting siblings or childhood friends at 12-12, don't you know, hanging out together, after other kids going to separate parents this year, and the Knight of Wands rushing back to save the day as usual, offering an option or a different path, or help to sleep or to feel good again, connecting with the Emperor, Hermit, and Justice, or proposing to connect or make peace with the Emperor, with a mediator or judge or justice of the peace. After the Queen of Wands' death or ending, transition or dark night, the Empress helped the King of Cups to be free from pain, so the King of Cups could assist the magician again as his magic wand of unconditional love, bestowing tools on the Knight of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles sovereign, which in turn makes the Queen of Cups and sister very happy again. So the Knight of Wands rushes in because they get to be the savior, to offer them a way to get some sleep, so that the Empress will connect and agree or come face to face with the Emperor with guidance and justice, or a mediator at court, or Virgo and Libra at 0 point field with justice after all at 12:21 a.m. Nothing at all. They just stand back. I'm getting Jungle Land again. And Spirit's connecting with me. They just stand back and let it all be. So again, that's being neutral, watching all the shit go down and being neutral about it. The poets down there, they don't say nothing at all. They just stand back and watch it all be, or let it all be. And in the quick of the knife, they struggle for their final stand. They wind up wounded, maybe even not even dead, tonight in Jungle Land. So again, so many people in those situations may wish that they're dead, and they don't even wind up dead, which is funny, because I remember thinking that as a teenager, like, where my mother's being so difficult, and thinking I'll just lay out in the middle of the street and I'll get run over, and then she'll feel bad. Then I'll show her. But I would think, well, yeah, but then I wouldn't die, and then she'd be even worse, and then I have to go back to even worse hell than I started out with. So the story that continues was 2023, as we are leaving 2022 soon, going into the new year of 2023, which is the King of Wands. the 20 of the wake-up call of the King of Wands, and the 13 and the Mitochondria. So after the cat or cats recover from breaking up, down, or car accident, and again, the cat's down in jungle land, after the break-in, the break-out, or the breakthrough, or the emergency, or losing patients, or losing a patient, in disconnect or distance and defenseless, perhaps with Cancer reversed or Sagittarius reversed, to Guns and Roses perhaps, or dried roses in the War of the Roses, with flame between, and the Emperor reversed out of control with the Queen of Wands reversed, the wounded warriors surrendering or giving up, or giving self up, as the Empress upright, with the horse with no name, getting over loss and regret of sister with secret passion or loss of integrity, with the King of Pentacles reversed, elk who needs to eat right to become the moose again, or turns into a monster when usually they're great, or at least in the past. Looking back at lovers or Gemini post-war, and the deception with the Knight of Swords, and the wise owl with sharp words, that trigger the entry wound in a cold place in evergreens. And again, talking about climbing the mountain. Mount Everest, right? I'm saying Mount Olympus, Mount Everest, I guess. So the evergreens are coming up with Everest to remind me. So the entry wound in a very cold place, which is going to take you deep within, in the evergreens, dumping multiple loads, emotional attachments, or vomiting perhaps, and no longer dreaming, or just past the point, and literally now seeing things they never would have seen before. And again, lucid dreaming. The Seven of Pentacles and reaping rewards of a new angle or slant, the degrees of separation, with the seventh being the key to success. At 12:34, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, shut the door, of the Hanging Man and the energetic exchange, with the Six of Cups of the inner children and the Tree of Life, the DNA of the mitochondrion, where the mitos remembers the thread, and the chondrion is the grain or the morsel. And what does that remind you of? The thread and the grain? Might that be a chain of popcorn on your Christmas tree? The thread of grain like popcorn on the tree, the round and oval organelles, the eukaryotic in cells with genetic material separate from that of the host, right? So not your DNA, but something that comes in to trigger a response. The response for conversion of food and usable energy. So what does your stomach do? It uses enzymes that attack your food to digest it. But do you want those enzymes present when there's no food in your stomach? No, because it's like a reaction of, eating yourself from the inside out. Again, the energies of that which breaks down things that shouldn't be inside of you, but but you don't want to leave them there and leave yourself vulnerable to attack by the enemy. So again, the energy of the chondrion, the mitochondria, responsible for conversion of food to usable energy in the form of ATP, or a welcomed enemy to break down the food, or in other words, enzymes, like I just said. The adenosine triphosphate, and the ATP also comes up as the airline transplant or transport pilot, which is also coming up as Han Solo as the co-pilots, or the one by themselves, right, needing their co-pilot. And the automatic train protection also comes up with ATP, which is referencing the automatic train protection as the grail, the God's rail, and then the grain of God's rain, as we just talked about, the grain of the chondrion and the mitos, the thread and the grain. And then here is the train or the rail, the God's rail, which is then the Holy Grail is the whole of the vortex, and then that repeated pattern of the domino effect of the etheric realms as the rail, the tunnel that you go through in the vortex, and then the grain of God's rain And then the who coming up, right, with love, rain on me. The Association of Tennis Professionals also comes with ATP, which immediately brought up the energy of the heads going back and forth, right and left, following the bouncing ball. The ATP is the nucleotide as the source of energy in the cellular reactions, in synthesis of nucleic acids, or the DNA, and as the neurotransmitter recognized by the purinergic receptors. So, and again, that word is breaking down into pure and urgent inner child's ability to receive. So the waves of the nuclei that create energy in mitosis, because remember the nuclei separate first and then the cell separates. So here is, and remember with electric and magnetic, where electric is stationary and the magnetic is the movement of the electric, where the waves of the nuclei creating waves, or creating the magnetic field in mitosis, of reaction and blending of the DNA, or the nucleic acid, because the neuro, or the brain messages, are understood by purity of excitable child's ability to receive. It literally translates that way. So, from the tennis bouncing ball to baseball and the 4 bases of DNA, right? So DNA being deoxyribonucleic acid, and the 4 bases of DNA being the adenine, the guanine, the cytosine, and the thymine. And so, of course, they took me to what they all mean. And we're talking about baseball here. And the diamond, right? And remember the baton, and passing the baton in the 4th quarter, or perhaps running to home base. The energies of the breakdown of the meanings of adenine. So adenine is addy, or aid, and 9. And one of the definitions for aid, or addy, is 6, which makes it 69, which is what? The 6 and the 9 that come together makes the 8 pod. The 2 P's in the pod is adenine. The guanine is the energy of marbles, which is a circle, or like the O of the human. It's also the cave and the palm, or the nut. I, me, my, and the butt, or the bottom, as opposed to where the adenine is the crown. And here the guanine is coming up as the asinine, right? The butt of things. And bamboo as well, which you can't get rid of if you tried. So the adenine is coming up as the 69, but the guanine is coming up as the 09, where the 69 is the 2 P's in the pod, but the 09 is the hermit alone, right? Where the cheese stands alone. The cytosine comes up as cyto, which of course is cell, and the scene of the sine wave, which is the S of Sophia, and the INA of the 4, which you know is the L and the 1 of the lambda leap, the message between source and human. And then INE is also water, I, jaguar, the inside, and then in as in the in, INN. And then the last one, thymine, is thy, mine. And also mine is M-I-N-E, which M is co-creation, and then I-N-E, the co-creation of the I am, the water, the jaguar, the in, and the inside. So the aid of the 2 P's in the pod of the 6, 9, 8, which is the permanent crown of royalty, the farewell, the chin chin. It's coming up as the fruit drink, from love of the 6 to the higher love of the 9 of compassion, and the 2 P's in a pod that come together in this and make the crazy 8 dance. The guanine coming up as not the fruit drink, but the basic fruit, are the nuts, the bamboo, I, me, and the 9 of the hermit, being alone. Not the fruit drink that's all mixed and alchemized, but the nut that's alone, that doesn't fall far from the tree. The hermit of the 9, the 1 and the all. And then the cell or the cytosine, the cell, which literally means selling signs. So what do? We sell signs, synchronicities. Seeing the 11 sign of justice, truth, and balance, of alignment. The wave of the number 4, or water, I, the jaguar, and in, or in other words, the happiness hotel. So the first is the 69, the second is the 9, right? The coming together in the pod is 2 of the 8, or the staying by yourself and being in the circle pod of the O with the 9, though, and being alone. The POD, or the pod, or the cheese stands alone. The 69 of the top, or the 09 of the bottom. The crowning and the asinine, the fruit drink, or just the nuts or the leftovers, perhaps the compost pile there. And then the third of the cytosine and selling signs. This is the energy of where the nucleus splits. Seeing the 11 of alignment, the sign, right? Seeing the signs everywhere. Sign, sign, everywhere is sign. Like, it's time for us to split. I'm inspired. But will the cell split after the nucleus splits? That is the question. The third one here, the cytosine, is the energy of the wave of the lambda leap. The wave, the movement from the excited electrons to become the magnetic field. But in order for this to really set and take place, the cells also have to split following the nucleus. The lambda leap, or the Christ lamb to the Father leap, the spark, to the I am, the jaguar, at the watery inn, or the home on the river, the happiness hotel. The final phase here is thymine, where the cell splits. Thy, finally, or mine. Thy co-creating the I and E in the cracked egg. The 4 of the lambda leap and the I am, the jaguar, the water, and the inn. I, large spotted cat and sporty vehicle, or the Panthera onca, which is another word for them, but it's the leopard and the jaguar, the onca. Thy co-creating the lambda leap. I, jag, which means cleft, division, or sharp projection, flap, or jab. Or someone who's inept or irritating person who cuts unevenly and teases. They also binge and has fits and spells. The one-horse cart or truckload with saddlebags in pursuit of yacht and to hunt, right? All the things that a spiritual feminine would not want, right? The needle in the haystack that you must find, who's always in a hurry or a rush with twinges of sudden pains. Part fire, part water, I am, self, and tree. Whether together in the POD or pod, or alone as the hermit home, where the cheese stands alone, seeing the number 11, the sine wave of the lambda leap in the mitochondrion, only understood and received by the inner child. So you can't have this, the cell won't split unless you have that inner child energy of urgent excitement, right? That inspiration there. So the 4 parts of the DNA, the 4 base parts, the bases of the diamond in baseball, to hit a home run or run base slams, as it often comes up in my reads, the energies of the adenine, the guanine, the cytosine, and the thymine. The energy of the crown, and then the bottom of the ass, or the compost pile, the butt, what comes out the butt. And then the split of the nuclei, the inspiration that gets the waves going, the movement from the electrons to the magnetic field. And then thy mind, that's when the cell actually splits. But notice that this is the 4 parts of the journey, right? Where you come together in the 69 pod of the 2 peas in a pod, only to split and be alone, the hermit of suffering and silence, right? Where the cheese stands alone. Then you go into selling signs and synchronicities as the nucleus splits within you from being inside all that time. And you learn the lambda leap to yourself, I am presence. and perhaps longing for the happiness hotel. And the final phase, which is thy mind, thy co-creating the I and E, and the cracked egg, where the egg finally opens and births the four of the land leap to the I am presence of the jaguar, of the masculine, and the water and the inn, the large spotted cat or sporty vehicle as the jaguar co-creating in that leap. So back to the story here at 127 of the Magician and the 27 of the Ace of Wands. The evergreen tree of life, whose roots are colorful, but disguised on the outside, right? Because the tree doesn't light up unless you put lights on it. Destined to the Ten of Cups fame or emotional fulfillment through exchange of rays. In the never-ending story of the world being a stage, of after-death and near-death experiences, of the Page of Pentacles reversed in need of help to learn, to heal, and for their dreams to come true. A star is born in a cataclysmic event, a spark not shared and unbalanced supernova, when the one doesn't come together with the other after the nuclei has already split. A novice starting over or from scratch to end the conflict and dropping the bouncing ball, or telling me what to read and when, and instead catching the baseball and diamond angles of 90 degrees of right angles, and the mitochondrion, where dryon, GL, is the triangulation without good luck. The myth, the humor, or bribe to con or sell a person, being the snake, the underpants, and black. The story of the snake and the triangulation, but without good luck. The 60 degrees of separation, where the 90 degrees is the right angle of compassion. So here we have the 6 and the 9 pod coming together again. Putting the square on its point or active uncomfortable position, if in 3D anyway, uncomfortable, but it takes you to the 8 dance of the X. And this is where the hourglass comes in the Taurus. The X is the middle also of the infinity symbol, the 8. And then we have the two sides of the C and the other parenthesis around the X, which creates the infinity, or the 8. So the X is also the chromosomes dance of 2 8s in the ellipsis, so to speak, of the field, right? When you only see them as a plane of existence, in the 8s dancing with each other, crossing each other, chromosome comes up as some chrome. But there's a parallel here to the Christ, O, Sophia, and the chrome, O, Somes. The CHR and the SO of Sophia and Somes, and the O in the middle. So check that out. The Christosophia and the chromosomes, where the chrome or the crow co-creates with human and sew me. And there's that energy of the Nightmare Before Christmas where he sews her back together. Or the sine wave of the human co-creation of one who's equal and congruent at 144. So at 145, and taking off, breaking patterns, no longer juggling, the Jaguar Magician, where then Jen finally got home after Teddy was waiting for her, releasing anxieties and a wake-up call to the sun, sunshine and full exposure of the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands, both reversed here, perhaps dumping a load, their burdens or responsibilities, and are confessing, or this is Atlas between them. The Queen of Wands reversed may be coiled and with a stick, mine, all mine. And the King of Wands reversed, the Cobra, who broke their crown, right? It's like Humpty Dumpty, right? Fell off the wall and broke their crown. The Knight of Pentacles here is upright, though. The humbled Queen of Swords, Lady Liberty, being the wise owl, but serving two unbalanced masters. And then Nat came in. Unforgettable. At 156, the Magician and the Two of Swords. Can't forget falling downstairs, tripping up, a banana peel moment, as the Knight of Wands reversed is going between the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands reversed at workplace. The workplace seems to be fine without issues. but their energy is falling short of the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community, or the abundant wealth of them, the family, or this is a small business versus a large business, and they just can't compete. With the Ten of Pentacles weakened, or this is a family business where the family is very wealthy, but the business is small, may be weakened due to dissatisfaction of the Hermit's broken heart or disappointment over the little chick who's afraid to leap, or the Fool reverse, lacking faith in third party, or in the lack of social life or social distancing in a heated exchange, arguing or delays in communication or travel, of the Knight of Cups reversed, who's unsure if they're coming or not, feeling rejected, and that can be a reference to erectile dysfunction as well, feeling rejected or jealous or unloving at the moment. The Ten of Swords reversed, where the worst is over, after paralyzed by passions and the bliss setting in of the Ace of Cups or Holy Grail at work. The Holy Grail and the King of Cups making a decision to choose a path to the Queen of Pentacles and the Page of Cups reversed, who may feel rejected if they don't come, and defenseless to their wishes as the little one. And again, that can be taken multiple ways. But again, there's this very much reference of erectile dysfunction as the dysfunction is just being in their head too much, too concerned about what other people think, and then you can't relax and enjoy yourself. Offering the Ace of Pentacles and a whole new world, or offering this Ace of Pentacles to a Pisces energy, the Eight of Pentacles reversed, taking off work after overworking, and a break in commitment, or just not, while it's not working out, to get attention, or to go home to get attention on the holidays, or bring good news in exchange for clarity or news or new information, or just chit-chat, of the Page of Swords upright and the King of Swords reversed, and the little lamb, of course, or to get some rest, to sleep, or meditate time, or 5D connection, in hiding when stressed, or being able to go back to your room and not having to be out and socializing all the time, as long as they can get some alone time. Learning to walk away and go within, and then transforming to a happy side of themselves to bring good news again, and lead the way, receiving positive attention, with the Queen of Cups reversed coming clean, or making them clean up their own messes. Sneaky cat. Now don't ruffle the swan's feathers here when you go home for the holidays. And again, there's that energy of the sun being sneaky for no reason, just because when they were little, they didn't want to get in trouble. And again, that energy of not wanting to get in trouble, but then you get so inside your head that you can't relax and enjoy yourself. So then going back to the adenine, the guanine, the cytosine, and the thymine, of the 4 bases in the home run, where the twins are together in the pod initially, and then the hermiting alone, and then selling signs and synchronicities, which was so funny the way they came up. And then the 4th part is being thy mine, all mine, and hitting a home run. Not just a home run, but a run, base, and slam. So that, I haven't gotten to the 7-deck read yet, but it's 1:57, we're at 2 hours. It's not a real long 7-deck read, but I am going to bring that to you as well. So now we're going to the table for the 7-deck read. Oh, and the movie was Burnt, B-U-R-N-T. I think that was the one with Jen. And that was when we went from the 13th to the 14th. And it was 12:21, just after midnight. That's when I said, happy birthday, God. And then I right away got that 9 of Cups energy with the Page of Swords, which is a message, and self-satisfaction. So I cut the deck here at 10:28, which is the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune, the 28 of the Twin Flames, or Choice of Path. And then at 10:30, the word stalls came up, right? So it can be stalling, but it's also the path of being like something else. The ALS is being like Christ-like. So crystals is being Christ-like. But remember about not having totems of God, right? That was poo-pooed upon at one point, right? Because you don't want to be like anyone else. You're all fractals of God so that you can all be completely different than each other, right? There's always something about you that's different than someone else. You have your own special gifts. At 10:30, which is that high vibe energy, destined of the 30, which is union. And your connection with Source, which is the union of your own special gifts. So 1046, which is that high vibe energy of destiny, and the 46 of the fond memories of being children, innocent children, loving each other and just playing and having fun. The energy of reflection came up here with the Hermit, and the reason of the Emperor, and the guidance of the Hierophant here were the main energies in the read. Before the read, Luna, or the moon, came up, and after the read, Justice and Strength came up. There were 5 pentacles and 3 wands in this read. That was it. 53 is the Knight of Swords, the messenger of truth, the knight in shining armor. But it also could be sharp words, right? The deliverance. So the court cards here were the Knight of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles in the read, along with the 9 of Pentacles, which can be a mother and 2 children as well, or perhaps 2 parents and a child. And before the read was the Page of Pentacles. So you have all the pentacles here except for the King. And then there were no cards afterwards. So we have the Queen, Knight, Page, and 9 of Pentacles here. And triple threes, the 369, the 3D, 4D, 5D, the 9 of Compassion as well, and the Christ energy, and the etheric realms, the energy of Tesla as well. Excuse me. And the energy, I don't know what's 9 Tesla. I know last time I worked at University of Penn Hospital, I think the highest they had was 3 Tesla. So I don't know what they're up to at this point. But 9 Tesla's coming up for whatever reason, which may be very powerful magnetically. And then 56 is the 2 of Swords, and the 89 of the Phi energy, expanding and contracting, or staying in the middle as the neutral observer, reflecting. So the 66 is the Queen of Swords. It's also referencing the spiraling of the heart, of the rose heart, which is literally what the energy looks like. And the 2 of Swords, the 36 of the Atlas energy, the 10 of Wands, the 35 of the Wounded Warrior, of the 9 of Wands, the 67 of the Knight of Pentacles, the humble loyal servant, the 78 of the 10 of Pentacles family, or the dream family of heaven on earth, and the 89, which I referenced already, and then the 910 to begin again and again and again every time you go outside of yourself to come back to the middle again. The code line here is all about time out, and here's where it got broken up into Tim, and then E-out, which was coming up as Ezra. Out also is one of the definitions of ROH, and Ezra was coming up as ES-ROH. And the dash is coming up as the Sophia, or Sophia is the space between, right, the everything else. And then manifestation came up as Manif and S station. And again, that can reference the S station of Sophia. It also can reference the sine wave and the 5D station. So the code line here was all about the number 90, which came up with 90 degrees and 60 degrees in the 69 pod. 90 came up from 9 and 81, which is the 9 of the Hermit, the 1 and the All, and the 81, which is, by the way, 9 times 9 as well, but 81 is the energy in the Divine Triangle numerology book as the end of karma around the world. It was kind of like the energy of, at the end of 81, which is the Divine Triangle, that you can then choose your own path. Do you want to die? Do you want to stay? Do you want to work? Do you want to not? But it was the end of that, of the Pythagoras triangle cycle, was age 81. So the end of karma around the world with the 9 of the Hermit, the 1 and the All for one and one for all. And the 3 Musketeers, remember, became the 4 Musketeers, and the 90 of the right angle as opposed to the triangle of the 60 degrees of separation. And then the sudden event, the southeast, the seeing, all came up here in the beginning of this message. Time, E-out, or the Tim. So Tim is, again, the source instant messaging, or the co-creating of source, and the E being the 1 equal and congruent to the out, or the Ezra energy here, the in and out, the instant messaging, and the 1 equal and congruent to the in and the out, the ins and the outs of things, right? The other. To see and CC, to the nth degree, regarding the Knight, of course, and the Nine of Pentacles, or the sovereign energy, and the end of karma regarding the Tim being out. And again, the energy of the source connection, of the source instant messaging, and the one equal and congruent to on the outs. And by the way, another word came up here, CSET, S-E-S-E-T, which with an accent over the S, which means 60. So we had 60 and 90 here again, of the 60 degrees and the 90 degrees. So so the next message here was referencing to see a sudden event, or perhaps southeast, and an event regarding the top dog, or source energy, creator, God, and taking a hard left, which again references the lambda leap, or the right angle, regarding the Knight of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles, or that sovereign catch energy, and the ending of karma. So it's like the Knight of Cups coming together with the sovereign catch, and ending of karma regarding the E-out, or Ezra break, which is the Sophia energy of spirit, right? The Holy Spirit, taking a Holy Spirit break. The 60 of the hard left, remember L is 90 degrees. So at 60 degrees, taking an L, a hard left, to go to 90 degrees, which is compassion, and the zeros represent source energy backing up that energy. And the reed test, which can represent the reed of the R-E-E-D test, of course, of the Nine of Pentacles, sovereign, and the 81, which is 9 times 9. This is also going to be a reading test, of course, that 9 plus 9 is 18, but 9 times 9 is 81, the reflection of 18, regarding the E time out, or the Sophia spirit energy here, for prayer, or taking a time out, where the top dog instant messaging may protest. Seth was also coming up here, to see Seth regarding the Knight of Cups, independence, ending karma regarding one equal congruent to being out to church, or taking breaks for prayer or meditation. Again, carbon copy, or CC, could be coming up. And again, 2 whispering benches, and the top dog of source energy and instant messaging, which is the whispering bench of being able to connect with each other, and the hard left of the right angle regarding the Knight of the Sea, or Pegasus, with the catch of the day. And again, that's about the Milky Way coming into Andromeda, where Andromeda is the catch of Pegasus. Andromeda. So is Andromeda the drama queen, or is it her father who's creating all the drama here? Or, you know, source energy, triggering them on purpose. To end the karma at 81, which equals gold and Ra and Chicago. And the number 13. Oh, because I looked it up. I looked up 81 in Gematria, and the number 1 entry was gold, which is also God, the Ancient One, and Ra, and Chicago came up as the 2nd and 3rd. And the number 13 was K-A, Lina, L-I-N-A. But also Anthony Fauci came up. And then I looked up Anthony Fauci came up talking about health. And then 9 by 9, all the different angles here plus 3 to the 4 is also 81. I, or Interstate 81, from north to south, where the south starts at I-40 in Dandridge, Tennessee, and goes all the way to the Canadian border at Wesley Island, or the Thousand Islands Bridge at Highway 401, which references the thousand suns of illumination or enlightenment at the crown. And then 401, which is like the energy of space between the masculine and the leap to source. The lambda leap of 4, the 0 of source embodiment, and then the 1 of that connection, that direct connect. And again, the illumination of the thousand suns at the Thousand Islands Bridge at Canada. The Tri-Cities of Tennessee, Roanoke, Virginia, and Harrisburg in Pennsylvania. And then Ontario to Detroit. The Appalachian Mountains in Wyoming Valley in PA, Syracuse, New York. One of the fastest routes between the capital, D.C., and the capital, Canada, Ottawa, and Mexico City. So it's a much more important route than you realize. 81. It is heavily used for drug traffickers and abduction traffickers because it's less monitored than I-95. The FBI task force created a task force in 2017 to address such an issue. And it's considered an essential highway by the Federal Highway Administration, or FHWA. So I started this read at 1250, which is the Hanging Man and the Ten of Cups, with the reflection of the Hermit reversed. And below that was the Page of Pentacles upright. So here's the reflection. That top card is the Hermit. And below that is the Page of Pentacles, Seven of Pentacles, which in this deck is the Divine Feminine's Heart in the E Tower. Then the Ten of Swords, all upright so far, and the Three of Pentacles upright. And then the Moon, or Luna, upright, all of them upright underneath the Hermit reversed at 1250, which is the Hanged Man and that Ten of Cups family, or emotional cycle there. And the Ten of Cups is upright in this read. So the Page of Pentacles upright, the student, the invitation or opportunity, is reaping rewards here, ending painful work at night when the Hermit's asleep or going crazy and coming out. An invite or opportunity to end difficulty in coming together to work at night without reflecting, or one being overly vigilant here. And Teddy was reflecting very much that energy last night. So give me 1 second. I just want to take a sip of my water. So Teddy heard me. He just came to say hello. Hello, beautiful. I'm not finished. He's thinking about it. So over-vigilance was coming up here, and then receiving new passion from the Knight of Wands reversed. And the Fool free from the Hermit reversed, who may be over-isolating or going crazy, are now coming out. With Cancer upright and Virgo reversed, Aries upright and Sag reversed. The energy of the Page of Swords reversed with a negative message or no message at all, in negative self-talk or perhaps spreading rumors. The Page of Swords child with a mouth or lying, with the Ten of Pentacles family, business, or community, and the King of Wands holding their tongue, with the Knight of Swords reversed, about falling out or difficult kids or bad memories, with the King of Swords upright, being very vigilant over the little devils, and this could be someone who's being overprotective, but the Nine of Pentacles sovereign is all chill instead. So again, the difference between the masculine and feminine, the masculine's being very vigilant or being overly protective, and perhaps the feminine being seen as being not protective enough. The King of Swords and the Capricorn sovereign, or the King of Swords Capricorn and sovereign with Virgo in their chart, or vice versa. Grounding, integrating, and mastering, receiving of love, or perhaps at the gym, or dropping the ball and calling it quits. Perhaps not amused by a wake-up call, with little critters tap dancing upstairs or behind the walls. Catching them where they fall, dropping the facade, and calling the Divine Feminine in the 5D. And the stalls were coming up too, like in stalls, where, like a bathroom stall. 107 107 is the Magician and the 7 of the Chariot, where very soon comes up, and romantic feelings. Nightly with the full moon, or Cancer wake-up call, reflecting the moon and whistling a happy tune. Destabilized at home with the 2 of Swords, keeping to themselves or refusing to give information, defenseless to attack, or unable to fight back, or not wanting to open up when they don't feel like they're balanced enough to stand up for themselves. So abundance comes up here with the number 88, which is the 2 doing their own dance between their masculine and feminine side by side, and self-love here. And beneath that is 61. So we have abundance 88 and self-love is 61, which is taking a risk to love yourself first. And then the tempted, the jealous, or the impatient devil, unaware or can't get information out of the thief in the night, or the ghosting of the King of Swords, or can't solve the case or puzzle. And you know that what that does to the masculine with the ego. So leaving a trail, but still unable to see, crossed their heart and hoped to die, stuck a needle in their eye, of blinded by the light, wrapped up like a deuce, or perhaps an eye transplant, or stole all of their contact lenses, or stole all of their blue eyes records. The King of Swords is upright with Virgo in their chart, or going crazy with Sovereign, with messy room, or world upside down, or one who's independent and one who's coming out, and the other's Pisces reversed, or Divine Feminine in 5D, and defenseless to their affections. Of the 88 of abundance, or were sad that they tripped up and weren't there to catch them, or did a jump and then got hurt, and so still paying them back, or using the guilt card. The underlying energy of the Fool, free for union, where going forward is the workplace, destined to recover the ill and the injured. The Queen of Swords reversed and the Page of Pentacles upright, with an opportunity or invitation suddenly to travel with no rest, and defenseless and or without an excuse. And again, this is that reference of in climbing Everest, you know, the family not wanting them to go and getting a sudden call and promising they would never do it again, but doing it again, even if they got really hurt the first time. The recent past here is the Knight of Pentacles reversed, refusing to move or unable to function. Present to the Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Wands upright, the Knight of Swords reversed, and the Emperor reversed, out of control under the radar. Or the Emperor reversed is trying to hold back from losing out at the Queen of Pentacles with the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles who's reversed, feeling a failure in a breakup or without affection, and dumping emotional attachments with the wounded warrior sister, or suffering in silence and unable to sleep to release themselves from anxiety. The foundation here is the Five of Wands reversed, an ending conflict or a losing battle or competition. The Ten of Pentacles is upright here without choice, with the wounded warrior on guard, with the King of Wands recovering from exile, with pet, child, or Leo, or ego of recovering patience and being strong, or restoring good health. The central energy is the Reason reversed, or the Emperor, why they're being unreasonable, and the attention-seeking behavior and dumping a load, a burden, a responsibility, or about dumping a lot of weight, confessing or coming clean, or getting clean, or cleaning up their mess, unable to sleep until they clean up, this can be obsessing as well, or awakening and coming out about a lack of sleep, stress, or suffering in silence, or a sister purging, crying, with endless with endless hours at work and no sleep, or now retiring. The challenge being the Nine of Pentacles Sovereign, or being single, at 136, which is the Magician, and the 36 of Atlas and the Weight of the World. And the challenge being the Sovereign, who's independent but drained and needing closure, to end things once and for all, depressed at night or ending pain for spiritual community, or divorce and withholding from ex, or pulling in no affection, or poor affection, or bad affection. With Leo, Pisces, Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus, and Gemini all reversed. Cancer is upright, and the King of Swords is upright, strong-arming the beast at present, the wounded warrior telling their woes to the King of Cups upright, Cancer, or Sag, in a two-bull split with the King of Pentacles reversed, with patience and energetic exchange, or a lot of back and forth of communication or travel. And the Knight of Pentacles reversed could be seen as a lazy child, or a partner, or scroogey or hoarding and unfair, or during a divorce, being unfair or lazy or hoarding and all that stuff. And that could be someone else who's just, a person who's hoarding. So with Cancer and Sag upright and Libra reversed, now crowning is the Three of Wands, present to flame in energetic exchange, or again, back and forth, and the arrows of love or communication or travel, and assessing their worth or worthiness. With manipulation, insecurities, and being stressed out, with the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community dysfunction or loss, and the truth of the King of Swords, perhaps hurting themselves or separated from self. And again, if someone got really hurt, do they have implants in their body that are blocking things so they can't get their messages properly? With the Ace of Cups reversed and being overwhelmed or dumped or broke up with, or just pushed to the emotional limit, sharing defenselessness to energies or attack, and dumping emotional attachments to the King of Cups with bad influences. So the King of Cups may be fine, but maybe they're hanging out with the wrong crowd, or they bring with them negative energies for some reason. Depression of Princess, refusing to wake up, and the Devil castrated, trying to mark their territory, choosing just one, or choosing just themselves. The Player falling short or paralyzed by their passions, or perhaps somebody might be paralyzed as well. The Sovereign left hung out to dry, destined with the Ten of Cups happy family without conflict, and the Two of Cups upright with the Ten of Pentacles family, business, or community, seeking justice in a bold move. With Capricorn upright and Libra reversed, Cancer upright and the Queen of Swords reversed, keeping to themselves, or in moving, or in grieving a split, and the Empress on guard and moving with the Knight of Cups. Or the High Priestess may be needing clarity, having to face the Empress, unstable with the Knight of Cups, and offering love to all else, or sister is disarming or stealing her truth or sword. With Cancer, Pisces, Taurus upright, and that could be a sister like a nun as well. That could be an aide or a nurse as well. With Cancer, Pisces, and Taurus all upright here, and soon is the Eight of Pentacles reversed, and the Page of Swords reversed, destined to be released from the Page of Cups upright. Scorpio and Pisces may be depressed at night, or perhaps they're drained or sick. And the Page of Swords reversed, Libra overworked and releasing the Page of Cups, knowing there's too much work because they can't have them around, or not working out in the never-ending battle with temptation of the Devil, or Ten of Cups upright family that looks happy but is depressed or arrogant, offering passion and growth and or sex at work. So we have Libra, Capricorn upright, and Aquarius reversed, and Pisces or Cancer upright. And maybe there were children hired to work at work, whether they're your own children or others, it could be family or cousins as well, but it didn't work out. So it's like the Page of Cups doesn't need to be around work because they may be causing problems with the clients, at work. At 203, maybe they're a temptation for the owner of the business as well. Maybe they're being too sexual at work, or your children are being too sexual at work. So there's 203 being the High Priestess and the Empress, but there's also the energy of 2 and 3 after the 1 of Source. And the Twin Flames being the Six of Wands reversed, falling short or fell off the horse or out of fire, right, out of energy. The workplace may be fine, but the King of Pentacles reversed is not. With the Six of Cups reversed, difficult children or bad memories or falling out in the past, or the past now returning. Perhaps, like I said, could be difficult kids as well. Finding peace away from the Queen of Cups reversed, or someone who's manipulating or being over emotional or totally detached from their emotions. And the Queen of Cups reversed and King of Pentacles reversed may not be getting along at work but have to work together, or both are needy for attention. Reconciliation, attraction, and worth waiting for, and even more, and also here's unrequited love and true love coming up for the twins. Around the twins, or how they're seeing, is no guidance. That can also be in a divorce, a break in a contract, or away from a religion or an establishment. At 206, which is the higher self and the lovers. With the Page of Wands reversed, who may be dead tired of manifesting really big, or everyone expecting them to make magic for them all the time, as the Magician, the one with all the right tools. And then the Page of Pentacles, maybe staying or studying, and the Knight of Pentacles reversed may be drained or sick, or maybe they're lazy, or both lazy students or kids of divorce, or leaving unanswered messages. Taurus and Scorpio both reversed, Gemini or Virgo upright here, Leo reversed, or students doing a project together, getting help from I want to read Magnum, but getting help from the Magician or a mom or just someone around them who has all the right tools. And this could be leaning on one student, right, because they're really smart, and getting them to do all the work. You need to clear blocks of the Ace of Pentacles reversed, getting ready to burst forth, but not, the new beginning hasn't happened. And the codependent temptation and feeling badly or keeping to self, or hoarding and withholding prior to a new start because you're saving up or needing to be ready to start. With a timeout, but even more so here, is manifestation and forgiveness. No longer to be silenced in a connection, with the Queen of Pentacles walking away smug or from arrogance. And the Ten of Pentacles in energetic exchange, with the Knight of Pentacles reversed, withholding or not sharing or refusing to work, with the Queen of Pentacles partner or soulmate. So here we have the Queen of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles reversed. And the Ten of Pentacles upright, family. So this is maybe a child or a partner who doesn't want anything to do with work with this family or partner. The Queen of Pentacles upright with peaceful travels and a split or divide, needing clarity and separation with injustice, and the need to jump through hoops, birthing through the Ring of Fire, or Sagittarius, which was 12-12. With the Tower upright, temptation, and Scorpio upright here, Sagittarius upright as well, or sudden patience, or angel appears, or patience show up at 218, which is the Divine Feminine, higher self, and the Moon. A sad Page of Pentacles, perhaps with an invite, and the Divine Feminine in the E-Tower, having to assess her worth, an ending pain or betrayal at work, at the full moon, or romance, or no reflection, no conflict, no attention or success, and no guidance, or no action for the Knight of Pentacles reversed. The Emperor reversed may be unreasonable or stepping down and retiring. The challenge being sovereign or being single again, or overworked or not working out and withholding or saving, present to flame, and the Queen of Pentacles making or finding peace with a divide or separation, a disappointment with injustice, of jumping through hoops for no reason. At 224, the higher self or Divine Feminine and the Queen of Wands energy, or Omega and Pleiadians. The epiphany about patience, whether that's your own patience or perhaps you're dealing with patience. And then the Hermit and Knight of Pentacles both reversed here, or the Knight of Pentacles reversed has Virgo in their chart, or one King of Swords upright not working and ending conflict, with the Emperor reversed, challenged by the sovereign or independent one present to flame with gifts, and under the radar not working out on a divorce or lack of guidance, or narcissistic Hierophant or Taurus. Blocked by the Ace of Pentacles or withholding, saving or hoarding from the Queen of Pentacles, making peace with lies and heartbreak, disappointment and injustice, of taming the beast with nothing to receive on the other side of things after all that time and work. At 228, being the higher self or Divine Feminine and the choice of path or twin flames, with Libra reversed and Leo or Sagittarius upright here and Scorpio upright here at the end. And that's it at 228. So I'm only going to pull something from the energy deck really quick because that was a real long one, and see how we wrap things up. Whew, at 5:41 on the clock, and here 228, it was 45 as well. That's weird. So that reflection of the 54 and the 45 of the Page of Swords and the purging, a message perhaps, and it's 42 now with the Two of Cups, and 2909, which is being present to the Hermit and the High Priestess or higher self. So what does the energy deck have for us to take away from all of this? Along with, as a reminder, the Cancer energies of the 69 pod, the 698 pod, the Capricorn responsibilities, and the 12 of the Hanging Man, or the Pisces and Capricorn energy, and Sagittarius at Sagittarius gate 1212, as we're going into Capricorn soon. What is our takeaway from all this? Victory. The 28 of the twin flames again, the choice of path, and the peace and quiet. And again, of the natural crown and victory here. There's victory for the twin flames. And the 51 for the King of Swords, the healer of the ages. And their new, and with their new abilities on board. And the 5th chakra, Archangel Gabriel, which Gabriel's all about, right? The messenger from God, the energy of Virgo and Gemini, and speaking their truth. And the 7 trumpets here at the Holy Gate, the 39 of the Knight of Cups, and the energy of the triumph of the twins. I'll show you the underlying energy in a sec. But here's the energies coming out for you, right? The triumph of the twins, the Knight of Cups, and the King of Swords, and the choice of path here, of peace. And you see how much they're looking directly at you, speaking from the heart, the throat, and the solar plexus over here, and the heart, which is between. And again, that combination of the two, like the solar plexus heart is like coming into one big golden light. And then the bottom of the deck is that one big golden light of the sun here, the one of the magician, the divine mouse, and the I am presence, and the portal of the sun, which is very much accentuated here, right? The man, the lady and the sun, the man and the moon. And again, the energy of being in a portal or in a pool of wine. Always thought that I'd be an apostle. Knew that I would make it if I tried. Then when we retire, we could write the gospel so they'd still talk about us when we died. And that's when the Garden of Gethsemane. And right, the end is just a little harder when brought about by friends. This is the underlying energy of, you know, the sadness of Lady Liberty. And it's at 10:11 on the clock there. 10:11 is right before 12 or midnight. The 16 of the sudden energies, and again bring us back to New York with Lady Liberty and the Twin Towers taken down, and the patience of the rebuild, the patience of getting over having lost so many people, lost people and their lives as well. And again, the sun that heals all wounds, right? Taking a bath in the sun. And the energy of liberty. There's still 2 cards that came up too. And look, we still have the man and the woman holding hearts together here. And there's the Sophia spirit coming through. All right, these are all the energies prior to that, right? We started out with Archangel Michael here and the thinking man, and which were the same order as from the read. And then here is the earth, and seeing the earth from somewhere else and being present in that moment like an astronaut, being able to see the earth, or an ET friend, a family member, and Archangel Michael, right? Being able to see the big perspective of the world and being present in that moment as the wounded warrior, feeling all of your pain. The 49 of self-satisfaction of getting your wish, of being in the heart space as the angel of love and not having to fight. And the door to spirit of Sophia, of the journey of clearing the air and opening the door to the man with a heart and the woman with a heart who may be purging and learning how to receive his love. Of Lady Liberty, the Page of Swords, right? Who stood at that post for so long with you know, time took forever and nobody arrived. The patience of the sun. And I'm getting the Holy One. And that energy. And then the other 2 cards that came out for you guys is the Temple Path of the 12 of the wisdom and seeing new perspectives. And again, that comes up with Thomas Kincaid and the Garden of Prayer. The Temple Path In the actual painting, the Garden of Prayer, you can actually see Jesus walking on the path back here. And then we have the 22 of the Fool's Journey here of the yin-yang balance, that perfect flow of the sine wave here. There's like a little design right there too. What do they have? I can't really see it. There's some kind of little, it looks like an E actually. If they put it on its side, it looks like an E. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's hard for me to see, so I don't know if you can see it very well, but it looks like an E right there. And then the temple path. I wanted to look into that card to see if there's something I was missing. There's something back here. There's a shadow right there, but I can't see what it is. Somebody hiding back there. Again, that energy of the lights. And the temple, and again the energy of the Jewish wedding, right? Having the home at the altar, and again the Statue of Liberty with the altar of Atlantis above it. Being at home at the altar, being at home at the altar. And now I'm getting Yoko too with the yin yang. The Fool's Journey with an open heart and a leap of faith, and the wisdom to see new perspectives. All right, so this is the twin flames having victory of Lady Liberty coming together with the King of Swords and the Knight of Cups to speak their truth and heal and be love. And the temple in the temple of balance, the wisdom of seeing new perspectives and hanging out with an open heart and a leap of faith, that lambda leap, with the underlying energy being the sun, the central sun energy here, and taking a bath and making sure you get plenty of water and you bathe in water and spend time in water, because it's like a conductor. I know that Elena Denon said, the Pleiadians said that if you sit in mud, you may be more likely to be able to light a light bulb up with your hands. So, and again, going in water may help your channeling. Okay, so pretty beautiful. There's very strong, beautiful energies right there. The trumpeting of the King of Swords. I'm just looking back at the cards to see if there's any last messages, and it's heralding in the end of 22, because the last two cards there are 12 and 22. So this last month of 2022, heralding in the change. And I'm going to pull another card now from my abbreviated people deck to see what is the card for 2023. What is the card for 2023 this year? 2023. What is the message for 2023? 2023. Oh, and they fell right off of me. Okay, the Six of Cups and your psychic abilities. This is you guys working together with your psychic abilities. And there's the Queen of Cups there in her heart space. And there's the King of Swords. All right, that was confirmation for you. And we also have the King of Wands here when needed. And the Empress over here when needed, okay? So it goes on there, because you got the King of Cups there too, and the Page of Cups, right? All the different aspects that are really important there, and the Messenger, there's that Mercury energy. And that could be the kids all coming in to help as well. And here is the Wounded Warrior energy at the bottom, who's on guard, right? Leaving the Wounded Warrior's path behind to go into the Fool's Journey fully in 2023 off, right? And this is about humbling yourself to offer love even to those who may not want to be nice to you, right? Being strong enough to stay in your balance, to be able to offer love even if it's rejected here, okay? I'm going to pull you from my Kipper and Lenormand mix deck here to bring you a different energy, because that was all people from that deck. One more card and that's it. the completion of the Knight of Cups. All right, so one more card from this mixed deck here. 2023. 2023. Okay, so there's the energy of the Page of Cups, the 40, and the many masks of the vulnerable, right? Seeing the many masks of your own vulnerability as well as somebody else, and the energy of the King of Cups and the Page of Cups here, and Father Time. The many masks of vulnerability in the fun house of Father Time. It's like collapsing timelines in, right, like the House of Mirrors, with the Hermit and the Queen of Swords, and flowers and gifts, with love, self-love, spiritual love, new love, and diving deep together. It's like exposing, the next card was then, exposing the case closed, the death of the wounded warrior's path, which is very much that Leo kind of energy. And then going into the Queen of Cups, of nesting the dream, of dreams coming true, as the storks deliver, the deliverance. And the bottom of the deck here is a privileged lady of the 12, which is the wise privileged lady, and the 38 of the one who works really hard, right? The bringing the two energies together. These could be two children as well, right? One's kind of like the one who likes to spend money, and the other one who works really hard. Or is this the same person, the Queen of Cups, maybe Pisces energy or wise energy here, making dreams coming true for the 6 of Cups over here, which can be these two children here, and the 16 of Scorpio coming through here as well. So there's a lot of water energy here. And this is the supernova energy as well, of the twins suddenly coming together in that 6 of Cups energy. Okay? But there's very feminine energy here, as well as the star, which is the spark, can be referencing the masculine, and then the other energies of the feminine energy there being expressed through the Queen of Cups, Mary Magdalene, and the wisdom of seeing new perspectives, or seeing them in a different way, right, as the Jesus Christ Superstar right there. That was interesting. All right, guys, remember your water, your rest, your joy, your nature. Know who you are, and get ready for some more upgrades. Enjoy your holidays and your new year here as we go into 2023. And Teddy just came in the room to take a look to see what we're doing. And as that card just passed out the window, it looked like a butterfly flying by. So big transformation there. Rise and be loved, love and rise. I'll see you guys soon. Remember, it's in their eyes. And don't forget to breathe.